I just don't want to leave you in the lurch with the overlay, but you got it. It's fine. It's fine. You're pro.
Alright, hello everybody, I am Hacklebeast here with Elegant, casting the rest of the Week 1 matchups. First is SAS versus Sir, or SIR, not sure how they want me to pronounce it, I'm gonna say Sir.
Yeah.
On the left side, as the Teal Zerg, we have Zeraki. But over on the right side, as the Purple Protoss, we have... Oh yeah! Get hype for Executor! Yeah! It's gonna be great! There is no way this is going to be a bad game! You have no idea what the joke is, you'll have to go watch the VODs. Elegant, it was great.
Oh my god.
It was great.
I'm so worried.
It was the bestest of hype videos.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's the bestest of hype videos.
Yeah.
I
I'll
had a
definitely be
special
watching.
request for Executor. When I was working with the guy, it's like, hey, I'm gonna let you do whatever you want for everybody's. I have full faith in you, except for Executors. I want Executors like this. And then he made it like that.
This is the bad thing about casting. So often I feel like I haven't even watched the games because I've been commentating them just so damn hard, and then I miss all the crazy hype videos, and I don't know. I mean, it's cool.
You'll want to catch that one. You'll want to catch that one on the rebound.
Absolutely, I will.
Alright, so the map is Outlier, and we see Zeraki with the 9 pool. So we'll get the early Zerglings out. Executor does scout in the wrong direction first, but he sent out a pretty early scout. So no chance that he won't have cannons up in time, as the Zerglings just start now, and the probe is going into the base. Bit of an odd wall,
though. Got a pimpin' cannon as well. No, not the cannon, the pylon rather, being laid down in the Zerg natural. Yeah, it is a bit of an odd wall, isn't it? I mean, it looks like the pylon's going to be very, very exposed. I'm imagining he'll lay down the gateway kind of in front of all this shenanigans, or maybe on top. I don't know, though. I don't know. Oh well, he can do what he will.
I don't know where the gateway goes in this.
No, I don't know where the gateway... It doesn't go anywhere good. I mean, this is another bizarre wall-in. You'd have thought that every player... like ever would know how to wall in by now. That's not even close to a wall in.
That's where the gateway goes, I guess. I mean, to be fair, Outlier isn't exactly the most popular map. I can give players a little bit of a pass, but this is like a wall that it's like he didn't even try.
I'd like just simple stuff: pylon on the bottom, forge above, gate above. Just if you don't know quite exactly what you're doing, just do that, and you're great. You're golden. And there's no fancy Zergling run by stuff going to happen. That's not going to happen anyway. Weirdly though, he's gone gateway before Nexus, which is a very, very odd choice. You'd have thought he'd go for a little bit more of a greedy build because Zerg hasn't gone for any big pressure, and he seems to feel the desperate need to get a serious blockade up, but he doesn't need to be doing this. He's lost a lot of valuable extra money there. I mean, he could really have afforded to go greedy in this situation, and the Zerg wouldn't have been able to punish him at all, especially not behind those 2 cannons.
Alright, it looks like...
Oop. Oh.
Nice.
Cheeky.
Couldn't save the probe for a little while longer. Alright, well... yeah, that's... yeah, it's a bad wall. But realistically, it's going to be able to stop the Zerglings because he's throwing down 2 cannons anyway. And as long as he throws down an extra pylon that isn't so far forward, it's really not that vulnerable to Hydralisks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm just not that happy with how it would have fared against a mass Ling or a big Ling run by attempt. I don't like it. Look, there's so many ways to get right in those cannons or get right past those cannons. It's ugh, I don't know. I seem to find myself saying this every week, but yeah, I'm not going to stop. Dodgy wall-ins, dodgy wall-ins. Meanwhile, there's a second scouting probe, coming in. So that makes me consider whether the scouting probe, which tricked its way out of the Zerg's main base, is going to be doing something interesting. Maybe like making a gateway for DTs and then tricking the DTs through those back minerals. Could happen.
Certainly a possibility. I was considering that as well, just because normally he would have been able to run the probe out normally if he had wanted to. But this way, he would have to waste 24 minerals to get the probe back, and there's no reason to waste those 24 minerals unless you have something special planned.
Mm.
Huh. Executor's throwing down a second gateway.
Yeah, and he's heading out with standard one zealot pressure at this stage, so he might be able to catch one drone before the Zerg wises up and sees what's going on. He's going to have to produce a couple more links, but they're already on the way. So this zealot just going to deny mining for a bit. It'll probably make its worth up. 100 minerals in lost mining time, maybe, just about. Either way, it's not a massive investment. But yeah, he is making a second gateway, so this is definitely going to be some kind of quite kooky timing of a speed zealot rush, because that number of speed zealots is just going to be that little bit higher, that little bit earlier than our Zerg player is going to be expecting. So it's going to be interesting how he reacts to that.
Yeah, really, I only see two options at this point. It's either going to be a bit of a strong +1 speed lot attack, and that one's more likely, as we do see +1s on the way. The other option is he could be going for some kind of DT rush, although he would kind of need to throw down the pylon now with that side probe.
Yeah, he would. Very, very soon anyway. There's no obvious sign of a Templar Archives on the way, and indeed he has got the Zealot leg speed upgrade happening, and he's pushing out with 3 Zealots, so he's just trying to maybe kind of force the Zerg back and make the Zerg over-defend now. Which means that then, of course, when it comes to a later stage, the Zerg has the defense in place for a 3 Zealot push, but not for a bigger speed Zealot timing attack, which can actually work out quite well, forcing the Zerg to defend earlier rather than later, and waste a few minerals sooner on. But he does run the risk of getting these Zealots caught, and that will severely weaken his eventual speed Zealot push if these Zealots get taken down.
Yeah, he does need to be careful here. Normally, the number of Zealots Executor has, now especially with 5, should be able to win that, but if he's a little bit careless and allows Zaraki to get surrounded with the Zerglings, he could lose more than he necessarily needs to. There is a Sunken Colony down and some Mutalisks on the way. Zaraki going for very fast Mutalisks.
I think looking at this, Executor knows that he has to pressure hard with this. He has to make Zaraki think that Zaraki has to defend with the Mutas. He cannot have those Mutas attacking him, because otherwise he will probably die. He's going to have 1 cannon in his main. He's going to have no cannons in his natural mineral line. If those Mutas get to his base, it is probably pretty close to over for him, and it looks like Zaraki has a pretty fair idea of what he needs to do right here. We have the first 2 High Templar on the way, but they're not going to be anywhere near in time to morph in an Archon. So these Mutas are going to be able to do some serious damage, if not come pretty close to clearing up the game. Now we have the speed Zealot attack coming in, and it's going to the Zerg's third base. Manages to take down the Sunken Colony easily, and that's exactly what I was saying about the Zerg preparing earlier rather than later. And he's going to be able to take on a second Sunken Colony as well. Might just get cleaned up by the combined force of the Lings, the drones, and the Sunken Colony. Looks like it will get dealt with. More Zealots coming out, however. Those Mutas are making absolute mincemeat of Executor's main, and this is going to be a pretty tall order after doing not a huge amount of damage at the third base yet, although there is still time for that.
Yeah, Zaraki certainly has done good damage here going in for Templar snipes. Gonna pick it off, and he has also picked off about half of the probes. But really, Executor doesn't have a good response for dealing with these Mutalisks. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose his entire natural. It looks like it's going to be too late for the Nexus, but I'm not sure what he can do to save the Templar Archives or any of the tech.
No, fortunately he does have an Archon popping out of his natural, but that is really pretty late, and he's actually walled it out of his main. So having to bash through one of his own cannons. On the flip side, Executor has managed to take down the Zerg's third base, so Zaraki is now relegated to 2 bases, and that kind of puts him a little bit even. That Archon coming out, Zaraki really needs to keep a close eye on his Mutalisks to make sure that Archon doesn't nab them all, although he should be able to migrate it down fairly simply if Executor's not careful. But yeah, these 2 players going quite toe-to-toe. Ooh, dear me, so many hits on those Mutas from that Archon. They're going to be smarting.
That Templar Archives is very low health now. He takes another 2 hits on the Mutalist. The Mutalist flock is all very low. One more shot could take out 5 of them in one burst now. But that Templar Archives has 1 hit point left. There we go, getting the Templar Archives knife. It's a nice, expensive building to be taking out, especially with Executor only on 1 gas. It's going to be a real pain to try to get once again. And until he can get another one, Zaraki can just continue to pump Mutalisks, and there's no real good response.
Executor does have a little plan up his sleeve, though. He's using that hidden probe to make a hidden base at that weird location up at the top left-hand corner of the map, and that is very interesting. I can't imagine Zaraki scouting that unless he flies Mutas over there by accident.
Yeah, it's definitely a very risky move. Zaraki happens to scout it. It's going to be all too easy for his Mutalist to take it out, and it looks like he might be doing it as 2 drones are going to be getting it. And that's a very unfortunate for Executor. That base will be scouted, and it doesn't really matter how long it takes for the drones to get back there. And it looks like they're going back there now. There's no way there could be enough cannons up in time for them to repel the Mutalisks. No. And the drone scouts it. The Mutalisks should be heading back anytime now.
They're not yet. They seem to be biding their time a little bit. I don't know quite what they are doing exactly. Kind of trying to group them up. And he's going to try and take down that Archon. This does, of course, give our Protoss friend a little bit of time to make some extra cannons to defend. That Archon, of course, going down because Mutas are superior to Archons in open ground like that, if they're micro correctly. But if Executor gets up enough cannons, he might just be able to hold this base. Of course, he might lose his entire main in the process, so it could be pretty much impossible for him to come back into this at that point anyway. But weird situation these guys find themselves in.
Templar Archives has been reestablished, so Executor will be able to make more Archons, assuming he has the gas for it. I mean, he's only mining off of one gas, and Archons are very gas heavy. So he certainly doesn't have an excess of them, and it looks like the Nexus may go down once again. The Archon getting into position, but with a little bit of micro from Zaraki, this should not be a problem at all. 170 health left.
Yep.
Yeah, just one more volley and it should be gone.
It's going to go the same way as his Templar Archives. I mean, the Archon just can't catch the Mutas. Big hits on the Mutas, the Archon simply cannot catch them. And that is why you need Corsairs to really effectively deal with Mutas, because Corsairs are mobile, Archons are not, and Mutalisks are super mobile and microable. And Corsairs, are really head and shoulders above Archons in that regard for defending off Mutas. Doing a little bit of speed out pressure. Don't expect him to be pushing into the natural because he'll be met by some stiff resistance. And now Zaraki, having mined out the back minerals, is going to try and get past those temples. He's going to be met by a fair few cannons, but I think he does have the Hydra's count to clean that base up just about. It's going to cost him, but then it's going to cost Executor far more. And the Mutas flying straight into an Archon, and they could take so many hits right here. They are taking so many hits. Will the Archon survive? Yes, it will. And that is a pretty severe blow for Zaraki. And will these cannons hold out? He's going to be pulling probes. He needs every last-ditch attempt to keep this base up and running. He might just do it. Those cannons could be enough. It looks like no, not quite. That base is probably not going to be lasting too much longer unless these are super probes, which they might just be. But no, it looks like the base will go down. The final cannon falls, all the probes with it, and once again we have Executor sitting on one base.
Yeah, just as you say that, another very odd base location in the mid 12 o'clock area.
That's odd for all different reasons to the last one. The last one was super hidden, whereas this one is just super exposed. It's just out there. It's accessible.
I guess Executor is a fan of the phrase "hidden in plain sight." Maybe it's such an obvious location, Zaraki will never look there. But you're absolutely right. That with that number of Hydralisks, just the number he has now, not assuming he makes any more, that's easily enough to take out a base that's that exposed. No, Storm is not done. Storm's only halfway, so that's not going to be a terribly big part of it either. He does finally have the main Nexus up yet again with a couple of cannons, so this time it might be able to live a little bit longer, but still.
The supply count for the Zerg's getting a bit out of control relative to what Executor's doing. I mean, he's doing a little bit of a Jaedong style Hydralist build-up, albeit not on his ramp. He's got all his Hydra just kind of milling around in the back of his base, but I think he's planning to head around and try and sneak his way into the Protoss main. There are two cannons up and waiting for the Mutas, so that's not going to be going anywhere. Might just be able to take down the Cybernetics core. This is so incredibly unfortunate for Executor, but this is why you need Corsairs. I'll say it time and time again, but the Archons just can't do the job, but the Mutas might go down before they're able to get it. This is so painful to see, but the Cybernetics core that is dead expensive will go down, so that's going to be another 200 minerals down the drain for our Protoss player. And one Mutalisk flies all the way back to the Zerg Natural to tell tales of where he has been.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Zaraki that he has lost all of his Mutalisks, but they've certainly done a whole lot of damage. Lurkers are on the way, and there's going to be a nice fat Hydra Lurker army attacking Executor. Executor going Dark Archon? Really? Really?
After he just killed all the Mutas, now he decides he needs Maelstrom. Not a huge fan of that. Would have been useful a while back.
Executor's too poor to be fancy like this. He doesn't have the money to be building Dark Archons and getting Maelstrom to hope to get Muta snipes.
Yeah, he's
Even
pretty
if
much-
Zaraki had a huge Mutalist count.
Yeah, Hobo Protoss right now. He just has no cash, no prospects, and his back minerals are mined out. So that's about to get really, really ugly. How is he going to stop this onslaught? There are lurkers in the mix as well. Does he have observers? He's not even close to observer technology. He has no robo happening anywhere in his base whatsoever. And the Hydralisk is now starting to pour in. He's getting some High Templar back, but he might not be able to deal with this. That pylon is doing Christ knows what. I think he was planning to make cannons on that nice storm to start things off, but he might get that High Templar sniped. He has used up all his storm in both those High Templars, so he needs to get some more in there ASAP if he's going to be able to deal with these Hydras. Coming in drips and drabs just a little bit. Another nice storm. Now the lurker is in. If those cannons go down, and once again the main is going to be in serious trouble and might not last too much longer. He needs to get some decent storms to take care of those lurkers, but the lurkers do manage to burrow down, throwing away one High Templar with storm in it as well. This is a tricky situation.
I'm actually surprised that Executor has such a large army. It didn't look like he had this many units, but he's doing an okay job of holding off. Almost all the Hydralisks are dead. It looks like there's only one lurker left, and it's about to be stormed down, I assume. There we go. He did manage to take out all the lurkers, and he's going to take out all of the Hydralisks, really without losing anything important, just cannons and zealots.
And look at the supply swing there as well. We see now Executor taking advantage. 83 supply to the Zerg 63. And now this is a much more reasonable place for a Protoss player to be in. And he's also not a base up, I should say, but equal on bases, which is pretty much the same thing in PvZ. So looking good right now for Executor. He has kept 2 High Templar out of that expansion, so he should be able to easily defend this Zerg push. And this is just going to cost Zaraki more and more lovely storms, and this Zerg force is going to be absolutely toast. It's just a matter of how much damage can they do before then. They just need to take out some probes to try and make themselves useful. But this attack probably going to end up going pretty much nowhere for Zaraki.
Man, Zaraki messing up with his storm dodges this game, and it's really cost him. I think easily if he had storm dodged up at this location, he would have been able to take out this base before the Zealots got here. If he had storm dodged when attacking the main, he probably would have been able to do a lot more damage to it before ultimately being cleaned up. But now Executor has an observatory coming in.
Oh, that's important. The cannon, which was in Executor's mineral line at his third base, just actually got sniped. So that means that the lurker, if it so wishes, can move further in behind the mineral line and prevent mining altogether. There is one storm left, and it does manage to take out that lurker, but not before it takes out the next cannon, which is morphing in. And this is close on the edge kind of stuff. But it looks like Zaraki's not going to be able to finish any more of those lurkers in there, so it's going to be goodbye for this attack. And just trying to assess who's actually ahead here, I would have to give the edge pretty strongly to Executor, just looking at the situation they're both in. Having managed to hold on to his third base, he can transfer some more probes out there and really start it working properly again. And with Observer Tech in as well, he's going to be looking good to start pumping a serious army.
Wow, it's absolutely amazing how Executor has turned around this game. He's almost ahead double supply. He's on even bases with a Zerg player. Zerg does not have any kind of good tech. He even has a Dark Archon, which could be used in so many different ways.
Well, the world is your oyster when you have a Dark Archon, you know?
Exactly, man.
Yeah, I'd have preferred the DTs. To be honest, I think the DTs would have been pretty useful to him in making sure that Zaraki hasn't expanded. He's maybe got slightly lucky. Zaraki could have maybe taken an extra base or two during this time, because as we can see, his attacks have been pretty much without fruition. Had he taken extra bases, I think Executor would not be in the nice position he is now.
Now that you mention it, I don't think Zaraki has had overlords in any of his attacks. So DTs might have actually been really good. Looks like Zaraki going for a two-pronged attack here. Some lurkers threatening to harass the mineral line. But meanwhile, his main attacking force coming through the main, getting horribly stormed, taking a lot of damage. But there's not an observer here, so these lurkers are going to be able to do a lot of damage until something comes and kills them. Oh, man, a lot of the zealots are going down. Yeah, man, I don't think Maelstrom works on burrowed units, but why not try?
It certainly doesn't kill them. Maybe it does. I don't know. I actually have no idea. That's one to ask, I don't know, Sale. He seems to know all these crazy things. Will the High Templar get sniped with Storm in it? It looks like, yes, it will. Executor not quite paying attention to the High Templar right there. And maybe another one. No, that's not going to be sniped. Using up his Maelstrom on 2 remaining Hydralisks. Seemed a little bit gratuitous, but never mind. And we also have some Lurker Bird action at the third base for Executor, so once again that's out of action. And this in fact puts him only on 1 mining base for the time being, his third being out of action and his natural being mined out, because that's just been blasted by probes this whole time. So Zaraki's economy looking slightly better in comparison.
Oh man. How many games do you see where the Cybercore gets sniped twice? Doesn't look like it's going to quite happen though, as the first observers can finally get here, and the lurkers can be cleaned up. It's going to cost them a bunch more zealots though.
Oh,
in the process, and
oh no!
Well, I guess he won't quite clean it up. Doesn't have a storm yet. As soon as he gets one though, he will be able to kill it. But will it be in time to save his Cybercore upgrading boon range? He has it. He has it.
It should be. Go, go, go.
Oh, he doesn't
get that zealot
attention. Oh, the double Cybercore snipe.
That was so unnecessary. He had a zealot and everything. He should have just rallied the zealot to the lurker and then just let it do its thing. Look, one zealot punch, boom, and it's out. How incredibly unfortunate. And with his third base still out of action, making a fourth. He's got an overlord hovering right over it, but I don't really know what Zaraki can do about that at this stage. He might try some funky drop action. He has got plenty of overlords around. I think he is capable of doing so. But meanwhile, another attack coming in, and he's going to try and really put the hurt on Executor's third base.
Yep. As you can see, mining has been stopped until just now, as that lurker has certainly done its job preventing any kind of mining going on there. And Zaraki going in for another attack. It is an exposed base, but Executors has enough time to get up a lot of cannons, and especially with this High Templar support, this is going to be a very difficult fight for Zaraki. I don't think he quite has the units for it yet.
No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I mean, his army is still pretty small. We can see him on 93 supply, whereas Executor is still well ahead on 133. I think it would be pretty foolish for Zaraki to be going dashing in anywhere now, especially now that his opponent has the full complement of tech that he needs to deal with a fully formed Zerg army such as this one.
And I mean, Zaraki was behind by supply, but I'd say it was pretty close up until Executor took this fourth base. But now Zaraki's in a lot of trouble here. He can't be behind bases versus a Protoss. That's just simply not going to work. He needs to figure out a way to either expand or to take out one of Executor's bases. Considering the type of player Executor is, I would recommend expanding.
I would thoroughly recommend expanding. I would have recommended expanding a while ago for Zaraki. He just needs to have been unwilling to do so. At every opportunity, he's been trying to kill Executor, instead of just kind of taking a bit more of a back seat, relaxing a little bit more into the game, and just making it safe. He's just wanted the big finish all the time, and after his advance with the Mutas, that wasn't necessarily necessary. Look at that. Double word.
Looks like Zaraki, is he going to try to sneak through here? Executor already has cannons up. I think the Hydros can only range one of the cannons, though. I don't think they can quite reach that back one. Nope. So that's going to be a bit difficult to get through. Probably not going to work out. Man. That is quite the Protoss force out in the middle of the map. Could Executor actually be thinking about attacking a base? Highly unlikely.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, maybe. His army isn't bad. I don't think he has the Dragoon count for it, really, to be honest. Although, the natural looking pretty undefended. He's just got, like, a bunch of Lings, like, a handful of Hydras. Hydras coming from the back now, which could manage to surprise quite a lot of these units quite badly. But this is a pretty weak position. A lot of Zealots could take some serious hits from that Lurker, though, as it burrows down. But he could be able to take on this force coming from the back. If he's got good storms, it looks like he will have good storms. 2 nice good storms being laid down. And this army is being completely shredded to pieces. And Executor seizing the initiative right here. He's definitely going to have to pull back after this, but he needs some more Zealots, and having said that, it looks like his army will in fact go down due to the lack of Zealots, and he will be forced to retreat, but I don't think any of these forces are getting out alive, so engagement goes to Zaraki, and once again, we see another over-aggressive play not quite paying off for one of our players.
Man, he almost attacked. He got so close, but then he saw a Lurker and he backed up to deal with the force in the back. He's like, almost.
Which is a good thing.
Almost
I think
attacked.
that's definitely a good thing. He was able to do plenty of damage to Zaraki's force, but not enough, but more than he would have done if he'd attacked. He would have been completely surrounded.
Well, that attack certainly did help Zaraki catch up in terms of supply, down to a much more well, it's still 30. I was going to say it was a much more reasonable 20, but no. 30 supply deficit, still a bit hard to overcome. And Zaraki's going to do a good job of preventing new expansions from going up, but really, Protoss can be kind of comfortable on 4 bases. It doesn't need to think about getting a new base anytime any real time soon.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zaraki has been expanding himself, has taken 2 new bases. Zaraki's starting to get up to a reasonable number, and it certainly looks like both players want to transition to the late game. Maelstrom number 2. And I mean, it was a really good Maelstrom hitting that many lings.
Yeah, it wears off before he can even do anything about it. Just weird decision. He could probably go and have a crack at the 12 o'clock base. I mean, there's little or nothing going to be defending that. There's one Ultra Scout heading over there, but it's mainly just a Ling Force, which Zaraki is playing with at the moment. So there's still a definite window for Executor to do that. Did I miss some big joke about Executor? Because everyone's like making quips about him, and I feel like I've missed something.
You didn't watch his series versus LRM.
Do I want to?
You don't want to. It was a terrible series, but he did not attack. It was literally 2.5 hours of him not attacking Zergs. In this game, he almost attacked. He almost attacked a Zerg, but then backed off at the last second. He's like, whoa, that was close, man. You wouldn't want to attack a Zerg. The sunken colonies are really good. They do like 40 damage.
It looks like there's some more lurker action going on at the 3rd base, and it's going to be able to take out pretty much every single probe. Executor not looking keen on running probes either. Is just happy to let them all die to those 2 lurkers which we had chilling behind the mineral line. I really do hope that Executor goes to take out that base at the 12 o'clock right now, although he's missing a serious opportunity. I mean, I think Azaraki's going to be going in there to try and defend it. Will he see the Lings with the Observer? No, he will not see the Lings with the Observer, so he still... does he know that base is up? Has he scouted at any point? He should be going in there now. This is agonizing. We'll see if he goes in there. Meanwhile, Zaraki actually building up a decent force of his natural. I'm not quite sure where he's pulling these resources from, but he's got a few Ultralists, he's got some Defilers in his army, but if he loses this army, he's going to be in trouble. Real trouble this time. Not like that fake trouble which he's been in so much this game.
Oh man, he's actually attacking a base. This is...
Wow.
This is
oh no, maybe not. No, he's not interested.
Oh, no, don't take out that hatchery. You wouldn't want to do that.
Yes, a useful Maelstrom. Yeah, you go, man. You go. It's still not going to win the battle or anything.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm still counting that as an attack. He took out the sunken. That's enough.
Yeah, no, have it.
That's enough. He attacked something.
And he feedbacked a Defiler. Did everybody see that? He feedbacked a Defiler. That is worthwhile. I think that was definitely worth doing. Will he be able to snipe off the hatchery? He's hidden a Dragoon, presumably hoping will the Zerg not see it. The Zerg might not see it. He might be able to get back in there and snipe that hatchery if our Zerg player, Zaraki, is incredibly slow about dealing with it when it does finally pop out. Many more units now come. Oh my god, he has 5k in the bank. Is my replay broken or does he have 5k gas in the bank?
Oh, he totally has 5k gas
Think
in the bank.
of the Archon army he could have right now. He could steamroll Zaraki with 5k worth of Archons. Holy check. But he's not going to do so. He might still manage to take this because he's coming into Zaraki's base here on the left-hand side where Zaraki has just a couple of lurkers defending. Ooh, going to do a lot of damage to those Zealots while they're pretty much on their own. And a couple of Ultras getting taken down as well. This is so on the edge for Zaraki. He seems to be defending with so few units. If Executor would just be a little more concerted about it, okay, and his High Templar coming in ridiculously late, if he would just be a little more concerted about it and collect his forces together, make a decent army and then go, these engagements might look very, very different, but he's throwing away so many resources in kind of small doses. It's pretty unpleasant.
Well, it was a very nice drop. Just using 2 dropships is going to be enough to take it out. It does look like the Dark Archon was finally discovered. Although it still might actually be able to get out of there because it's just one Zergling pursuing. Man, and Zaraki might be able to take out the 3rd as well? And not quite, but still, the lurkers in the back are continuing to deny mining. That is a 21 kill lurker. Just because Executor, it was at 14, but Executor apparently forgot about it and transferred probes back in, only to lose another 7. Oh, man.
Oh dear, that's unpleasant. And we have the 6 o'clock up right now for Zaraki. We have the 12 o'clock still somehow up when it should have just been sniped. He shouldn't have pulled back and tried to hold the ramp because he didn't have the units. He should have just tried to snipe the base and have been done with it. I think he's going to do that now, but he's going to get sandwiched once again, I think, by the reinforcements of Zaraki. And now Zaraki is mining off like 3 decent bases, 4 in fact. So this puts Zaraki well in the driving seat with our process player mining off 1 base, which really isn't anywhere near enough. He needs to get those lurkers cleared out. and he needs to be able to at least take out that 12 o'clock base. Doing some decent Maelstrom, he's able to take out a couple of Ultralisks for free right there. He might actually be able to deal with the Zerg force. And Executor is going to take this engagement, which does give him a little bit of edge to at least get rid of this 12 o'clock base. He has still a significant, pretty hefty supply lead, 158 to 112, so he does have a window in which to have a crack at this Zerg base. And he might be able to roll on to the left-hand side base as well, which would be very, very good for him.
If you notice, Executor's gas has gone down from 5k to just 700.
Wow.
He has a lot of High Templars now.
He seriously does.
He does.
He's going to have a lot of Archons in a second. And I like that.
Going in for another attack on this base. Will he be able to get the hatchery now a layer down this time?
He should be.
He should be. I don't know how Zaraki's going to be able to... Well, reinforcements.
No.
Reinforcements.
I'm sure Zaraki can't hold this. He's got a few extra. Oh, don't do this to me, Executor. Just snipe it.
No,
He's so unwilling to just snipe the lair. He just wants to kill everything before he kills the lair. I mean, that lair is pretty much the crux of this whole base. Without the lair, the base doesn't happen.
No,
it's a non-base.
Mr. Dark
And the Dark Archon.
Aw, I wanted to see him go and attack this base twice and be the only survivor twice, and then manage to make it out. Or not the only survivor. That goon's still there. Just chilling.
Oh my god. I think Executor's probably forgotten about that goon, and as well he might. It's an absolute relic of a time gone by, that goon. It's going to become a map artifact soon.
Oh,
just you watch.
but
He still didn't take out that lurker behind the mineral line.
don't worry, man. 6 o'clock base going down to 7 Archons. It's good.
Good. That is good. It's about time. Those Archons are going to pose a serious issue for Zaraki because he doesn't have very much stuff with which he can deal with Archons. A couple of DTs coming into the 12 o'clock base, but is there an Overlord? There is an Overlord, but will Zaraki use the Overlord to its best effect? He's got a couple more Overlords coming in, so he is going to be able to deal with these DTs. Why isn't he sniping the lair? I cannot explain why he doesn't just snipe the lair. He just seems intent on killing the army. Killing the army, but not the lair. Very, very annoying.
That lair slowly recovering health.
I know. It's
slow.
recovered health through the last 3 attacks. It has only gained health in the last 3 attacks.
Well, here come 7 Archons, and if you ever wondered how 7 Archons fare against Zerg, pretty well.
They're good.
Pretty well.
They're definitely good. Yeah. I mean, those Ultras are running for their lives, and this is going to get tricky for Zaraki. Do not let those Archons
don't
go
go
up the ramp. Please don't try and take on the. Oh. Oh my God.
It kind
All
of
his Archons dying.
it kind of makes sense why Executor doesn't attack in his games
Because
it doesn't work
He
out
just
very
lost
well
4
for him.
Archons to Sun Colonies at the top of a ramp just by bobbling around the bottom of the ramp. So yeah, Executor definitely should favour a defensive style, I think. Because this is looking pretty rough for him, whereas he could have absolutely steamrolled the Zerg's main right there. He had 7 Archons in the Zerg's main, but he seemed intent on trying to kill the Ultras instead of taking out any of the important tech buildings, or even just holding his ground in there and making life superbly difficult for a Zerg player. And once again, an opportunity goes begging, please. Oh god, let this be an attack that finally kills the lair. I want to see that lair go down, because otherwise it's just getting pretty absurd. A couple of Reavers coming in now should be able to finish it off. Has he got the Reaver damage upgrade? I don't know, I can't see anything in the robotic support bay. Now, he is finally going to get rid of the lair, which is good, and this is going to put Zaraki in quite a tough spot once again, as both of these players have been so many times throughout the course of this game. Zaraki is going to be pretty much on 1 mining base, at which point it becomes very difficult for him to produce quite so many Ultras as he is.
Yeah, once that base is out, Zaraki will be on 1 mining base. On the other hand, though, Executor doesn't exactly have a good mining situation either.
Oh, Reaver! Oh. Sorry, the Reavers went down in the shuttle to Scourge. Ugly. Sorry, go on, you were saying.
I was saying that neither player really has a good mining situation. Looks like Executor is trying to re-expand as he goes for an attack at the 10 o'clock about. Very nice Storm taking out a lot of the drones, and he will be able to take out the hatchery. I hope. Right?
Please.
He has to, right? Yeah.
He can't not. I mean, there's nothing else left for him to kill, which is the point at which he kills the base.
Okay, we got it.
When everything else is dead.
He took it out. So, yeah,
Good.
Zaraki on only a single mining base does not have the largest bank in the world, only at 90 supply compared to Executor's 140.
Yeah. And Executor making up another base at the kind of top right-hand corner location. He just needs to clear out that lurker as well, and everything is going to be looking pretty sweet for him. But nonetheless, I think it's looking pretty good for him anyway, because Zaraki is on one mining base. He has 3 gases mining, 2 of which are depleted, so he's getting gas in an absolute crawl. And now coming into Zaraki's third base with a strike force of units. Probably not going to be enough to kill the base entirely, but enough to pressure, pull back, and then his forces can go into the main and start doing some serious damage and taking out some of that tech. Some of that delicious Zerg tech, which Zaraki needs so badly at this point to be able to compete against a pretty high-tech Protoss army. And yeah, that's exactly what's going to be happening. He's going to start taking stuff out, and they're going to be going for the hive first, maybe? I don't even know what he's going for first, but this should be pretty effective for him. And Executor would have to make a pretty serious blunder to throw this one away. Could happen, but it would have to be pretty bad.
There are a lot of Ultralisks coming in. The Storm doesn't do a whole lot of damage. No Observer, though, means that the DT can still do a good amount of damage as the Archons are being taken out. And oh, that one was a very good Storm, hitting all 4 of the Ultralisks. But still, 3 Ultralisks remain, and they can clean up everything else here. Only managing to take out the Defiler Mound, which really is not important at this stage of the game.
How could he see that DT right there? He just killed the DT.
There's an Overlord.
But that's miles away.
The base. I'm guessing he has Overlord Vision upgrade.
Still, wow, that's incredible.
Also,
wow.
the detection range of the Overlord is larger than the sight range of the Overlord.
Oh, like scan, you mean?
Like scan.
Okay. Okay, that is my confusion dealt with. Okay, and now we have another attack coming into Zaraki's third base. This is the last mining base. If this base goes down, he is done. He is out of this match, and I think knowing this, Executor is really going to be making a big effort to take out the hatchery this time. He has a couple of Reavers in there as well, and as we all know, Reavers are just super good against a Zerg late game army. Zaraki needs to defend this right now, or he is not going to be standing much of a chance. There's an Archon in the 12 o'clock base taking out that new hatchery as well, so this really is Zaraki's last hope in this game. The Reavers look like they might go down a little bit cheaply, though. They only 1 shot left on that Ultralisk, and now he's retreating.
Yeah, man. Of course. He doesn't have a very big army anymore. He needs to wait for 200 again. It'll be a while. And
but he's
what?
He'd win, and he hasn't managed to take out the 12 o'clock base.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Archon there, but the Archon's just gone.
When I left, there was an Archon killing a hatchery with nothing attacking it.
And now the Archon's
like it
gone.
just suicided it. I don't know.
Like
but he's now going to go over and take that out.
It was attacking the hatchery, and it accidentally splashed itself over time. It's standing too close. Silly Archon. But he should be able to get it now. And Zaraki, I mean, he did keep that hatchery alive, but there are no more drones there. So Zaraki's hardly mining. At this point, you can see just a small trickle coming in for him.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
He transferred all of his drones down to 6 o'clock.
He's got another. Oh, he has got another base at 6 o'clock. Okay, I don't think Executor is aware of this. If he were, I'm sure he'd be making an effort to kill it. Although, having said that, there's of course no guarantee that he would. All you have to do is send a couple of Reavers over there and get it dealt with. But I don't think that base is really first in his mind right now. Zaraki is still really on his last legs, but he's still kind of in this. Finally, now Executor can get mining again at that top base location, which has been out of action for a very long time, so he's going to get a little bit of fresh influx of minerals from that. And just as his top right hand base comes up, some more probes become free, but there's a Zergling drop coming in, and there's only 1 Reaver to defend. That Reaver might get taken out, and still a couple of Zerglings left. Might be able to deal with that Nexus before Executor can get any reinforcements over there. It looks like he will be able to deal with that with a single Zealot. And meanwhile, he's going to take out this base finally for Zaraki. So yeah, finally managing to tighten the noose a little bit, I guess.
I do want to point out, that was pretty cool from Zaraki. He took his Overlord and he flew it around in a circle, dropping lings at different positions around the Reaver, with the idea being that they would not all get splashed down. And it didn't work, and when they finally did fight off a Scarab, it killed them all, but it was pretty cool anyway. But here come
it was pretty good.
Now here come a couple Zealots to scout out the 6 o'clock, where none of the drones are mining. Alright, that's fine. No need to mine. Come on, if you only have 1 mining base that isn't mining.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much a moot nexus at this point. It doesn't matter if that goes down, but he feels he needs to defend it anyway, which is fair enough. It's a decent defensive position. A few links coming in from the back of Executor's base. I'm not sure if that's the best idea for Zaraki, because there's limited damage that he can do, because Executor's army is all pretty close to home, and that's only going to really highlight the fact that that 6 o'clock base is up once again, which I'd have thought Zaraki would want to keep pretty quiet at this stage. So, and if he's even slightly unlucky, Executor will twig right now, and will head down to that 6 o'clock base to take it out, which he can very, very easily do. That next is probably going to be dealt with right now at that mined out base, but it seriously doesn't matter because there are no minerals left. Executor looking like he might head down to the 6 o'clock. He has a few units bumbling around looking like they might be about to do so. Managing to defend that next as well, weirdly, for some reason. But so on the other hand, he's going to actually scout that 6 o'clock base or not, or whether he's just going to leave it.
No, he certainly knows about the 6 o'clock base. He's had a couple of units go down there and they got taken out.
Okay.
And now he's
got
finally coming down. Zaraki with the Mutalisk transition?
Maybe it's so he can take out that top right hand base a little bit more easily, perhaps.
Possibly.
Because he's having a serious trouble with it right now. He's just trying to drop individual lings, and it's becoming a bit of a pain in the ass for him, whereas I think Muse would be able to do that quite quickly. But he's about to lose his last mining base, and this is absolutely going to be the death knell for Zaraki. He might try one last sort of last-ditch attack. It looks like he's preparing for something of the kind. He's even got drones transferring out. This is crazy stuff. He can't even afford another hatchery. So at this point, Executor has in fact won. Zaraki is dead and buried in this one.
Nah, man, he can long-distance mine. It's good.
He can.
It's all good. It's all good, man. And he's bringing the army not for a last-ditch attempt, but to guard the long-distance mining operation. That's why he needs the Mutalisks.
Top marks for effort. But that's just becoming crazy GG timing at this point. All his tech is about to go down. Not that he can use it anyway, because all he can afford is the occasional Zergling. And he's going to go and try and take out that top right-hand base with a couple of Muses right now. Probably not going to be successful. He might find a little bit of a window at the top where he can start sniping off probes. But even this barely mining, kind of nearly 12 o'clock location is going to be enough for Executor to be able to take down Zaraki at this point. Oh! And a massive storm gets laid down on this Mutalisk as well, so Zaraki's last-ditch Mutalisk get almost taken out. Not quite, though, because they actually managed to survive a whole storm and cannons, so they are actually going to be setting to work on these probes. I can see why Zaraki's still in this. It's weird, but I actually really, really can. I don't think he's got a chance, but I see why he may imagine that he does if he can't see the supply count and whatnot, like we can. But that base is going to be dealt with, but fortunately for Executor, he is still mining. All he has to do is cannon up this other remaining mining base, and then just wait for the victory to roll in. Meanwhile, taking out all of the Zerg's tech in his main base in the process.
Apparently, Executor learned his lesson about going up a ramp against 3 Sunkens the last time he came through the back door to the main. So he's just not going to do it. He's just going to sit here and chill for a while. It looks like he's sending his entire army up to take out the non-existent 10 o'clock base.
Well, it's important. You know, invisible bases are the worst.
And Zaraki has mined enough minerals to build a hatchery. He's back in business.
Yeah. Oh yes, that base is up and ready once again, but I'm sure Executor is going to find it in him to max out and attack it any second now, at which point the 2, 3, 4 Zerglings are not going to be too much of a problem for him, and there's one Ultralisk waiting at the natural as well. Don't know how he's even managed to afford that, but Executor just needs to basically pull his socks up and just go for it at this stage and see what happens. I think he'd be pleasantly surprised.
I'm having flashbacks, man.
Oh yeah.
45-minute PvZ that Executor wins. He's gonna go on. Like, seriously, when I'm a senior citizen, I am going to be diagnosed with PTSD, and then some psychologist is gonna set me down on a couch, and I'm just gonna be like in the fetal position, rocking back and forth, like silently muttering, Executor, Executor, and people are gonna think that I was like in some horrible war POW camp, and there was an Executor who tortured all of the prisoners and threatened to kill them. But little does he know, it's far worse than that. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he could look at his army. He's just rolling around the map right now with this absurd army. Look how many Archons, Zealots, Reavers, whatnot he has. He has the full gamut of useful stuff to kill Zerg with, and Zerg has one meagerly defended base, which he's not too interested in killing right now. So he's just going to give Zaraki a little bit more false hope, just to make his eventual defeat all the more thorough, I would imagine.
I don't know why.
A little bit of
I don't know why Zaraki's still in at 25 supply.
I don't know either.
Okay, like this. To be fair, it's not all Executor's fault. Zaraki kind of needs to leave. He has 1/8 of the opponent's supply. Oh, but it's okay. You can load him up into Overlords. He needs to drop a Zergling so he has room for the Ultralisk. No, he's abandoning the Ultralisk. Zaraki,
the
man.
Ultralisk's really,
When you
really
only
good.
have 11 supply, you need to be more frugal about your units.
I can't believe he managed to take out Executor's last mining base.
10,
Well, I say last mining base, he's got one probe mining up at the top left. One single lone probe.
7 supply. Let's see how low Zaraki gets before he finally leaves. He got down to 7. Now back up to 11. There we go!
GG.
GG.
But this means that, of course, hold your horses, guys. No celebrating just yet, because Executor is continuing on in the next game, because it is all-kill, winner stays on format. So, more defensive action coming up any minute now.
There's no way Saf sends a Protoss, is there? There's no way they send a Protoss. That'd be too great. They're gonna send another goddamn Zerg. Oh man. Game's hosted.
Alright, I'm on my way. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to alter my... Actually, I'll get into the game and then I'll alter my microphone. I want to deal with this static problem which people are complaining about, so I'll join the game and then sort it out.
Alright.
Here we go. Alright, I'm going to mute my microphone while I do so, I'll be back in a second.
Alright, so this will be game 2 of SAS versus Sir. Executor continues on. We don't know who SAS's player is. But we will soon find out. Once Elegant downloads the map and then gets his mic all sorted out, should be back momentarily. You know what? I'm gonna do the intros anyway. I'm just gonna start the game and give him a little bit of time. And he should be done by the time that the intros are done. Alright. In the top left position is Executor as the orange Protoss. And in the bottom left, they did not send a Protoss, but it's not a Zerg either, so it's totally fine. We have SAS Skyline. Skylime. You know what? I felt a little bit bad about making Executor's intro video this way, but you know what? Game 1, I'm not feeling bad about it. I feel like playing it again. I am actually incapable of containing the hype I have for Executor. Oh my god.
I'm back. But I don't think the problem is fixed because I didn't change anything because I can't find how to. So, sorry guys. A little bit of static never hurt anyone anyway. What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger, and that applies to the noise of static electricity on a Brood War cast as well. You'll be pleased to know.
Alright. So...
But I am sorry for what it's worth. It's worth nothing, but I am sorry.
So... Alright. PVT on Ground Zero. This is a pretty nice map for Terran. But we'll have to see how Skyline plays it. Skyline can be a little bit more aggressive than your average Terran, and kind of do some... He can do some borderline reckless things. I've certainly cast some TVPs of him where he's gone dropships. With mixed results. Sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes it does not look good at all. But, certainly capable of playing with the best of them. Certainly capable of taking a game off Executor here. And as for Executor, I don't think I've casted any of his games versus Terran, so I really don't know how he is in the matchup.
Yeah, well, obviously I don't know either. I've hardly seen him play it at all. So yeah, it'd be pretty curious for me. I mean, after last game, I'm a little bit apprehensive of Executor's play because he was fine. He wasn't bad. He beat Zaraki, which is quite a thing to do, but he did just seem a little bit passive, especially when he didn't really need to be. So this is going to be another walk on the wild side for me. Another crazy experience.
All right.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Nothing outstanding for either player yet. Doesn't look like Executor's going to go Zealot first, though. So get a little bit of extra pressure going, but Skyline is playing a little bit extra defensive, going for Factory first. Do it when most likely the normal Siege expand. Marine does find the first Zealot out in the middle of the map, but will easily be able to get home, and with the Barracks and Supply Depot set up in the right positions, shouldn't have a problem microing against that.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so. I mean, the cell might be able to do some decent damage, but it should be fairly easily dealt with. I'd imagine it'll go home pretty quickly. Looking like he's going to stay in the base and going to try and do some funky action with it, but I think probably making the right decision to take it out and take it away, which makes good sense. The Dragoon now on the way as well, though, so he might be able to force his way up the ramp with the... Oops. Terribly sorry. Got a bit of stuff going on in my throat. Might be able to force the ramp in combination with the Zealot and the Dragoon, but probably not, because 4 Marines are actually a lot stronger than they might immediately appear, and it looks like he is going to be pulling back onto the ramp, losing quite a lot of health on a couple of his Marines. Might lose just 1 or 2 of them before he actually pulls back. And that is going to weaken any FD that he decides to do. Nothing too serious beyond that, and that Dragoon is actually losing a hell of a lot of health. The Dragoon might actually go down. Executor, what are you even doing?
That was a mistake from Executor. If he hadn't had lost like 70 health on the Zealot down there because it was on hold position, he would have been able to kill more Marines before they had a chance to run up the ramp. But alternatively, I think what the best option would have been is to have not left the base at all with the Zealot. If he had just run around the back and like pretend as if he wanted to go for probe snipes, he would have not allowed those Marines to be on the ramp and able to get a goon all the way up. Then you can start going for the tank snipes and really slow down your opponent. You can punish them when they don't build bunkers like that. So I don't think he quite played the early game correctly. It's a little bit of a decision. A little bit of
and losing more health on another Dragoons. I don't think he played that correctly at all. Losing that Dragoon was really, really important. Look how much better 3 Dragoons would be right there. Especially knowing that he was going to have to defend something like this. At the very least, Terran was going to try a bit of an FD. I mean, that's just a given. You have to be prepared against an FD. And it looks like he might not even be able to defend that off with only 2 Dragoons. He's going to seriously struggle, and he might lose one of his Dragoons to be bumped back down to 2 once again. He will lose that one, and the mines are now going to start being laid down in his natural. He could be pushed all the way back into his main by this, which didn't really need to be happening. Some good micro, though, against the mines. Just might manage to have bailed himself out there. Letting one mine maybe go down. Yes, that mine will make it down, and the tank is being repaired right now. I think he might be forced to abandon his natural expansion, which is a terrible state of affairs. Might lose that second Dragoon as well. Might lose all of his Dragoons here. The Terran might be able to kill him with an FD, which would just be so incredibly surprising. Yes, 1 Dragoon remaining to him right now. That Vulture does go down. It was empty of mines, but absolutely taking the natural by storm, losing nothing but a few Marines and a couple of Vultures, and managing to get the mines down and keep his tank alive too. So this is looking brilliant for Skyline, and Executor is going to be kicking himself. I mean, that 1 Dragoon really did make all the difference. And now he's being forced to... He's making a robo, presumably he's going to make a push-up quite soon as well. And a 3rd gateway happening too, just so he can try and bail himself out of this nasty situation.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of time. The Vulture hardly kills the Nexus. It's only going to do about 5 damage a shot. 4 damage a shot, even. So it's really up to the tank to kill the Nexus. It means that he might be able to get something going. At this point, the only thing he's lost is Dragoons and mining time, because the Nexus hasn't fallen. And
the tank goes down.
Yeah, he's afraid to move forward because of mines. But there's only 1 Vulture firing. There's no more reinforcements coming, so it looks like Executor... Wow. Executor trying to be fancy on the mine micro, and it does not work at all. But that's fine. He took out the Vulture. And
the tank took itself out, basically.
Yeah. And he didn't lose the Nexus. It's not the end of the world. The most important thing he lost was mining time.
But that shouldn't have been the case. I mean, both players trying to be a little bit too fancy at a few instances in this game. Like, Skyline just there, microing in and out with the tank was incredibly unnecessary. He pretty much binned that tank when it could have just stayed safe behind the mines and probably would have eventually been able to take out the Nexus, because observers were quite a way away. Observers would be nearly done now, as they are, as we can see. But I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to take out the natural Nexus, whereas the Protestant is now in a much better position than he would have been couple of tanks pushing out, though. I don't know if this is the best idea. This is a very, very small, very kooky push from Skyline. Might be able to do the damage it needs to do, but I'm a bit hesitant to call it at this point.
Yeah, with some... I was going to say, if he gets a lot of mines down with siege mode behind it, he might be able to do something, especially if he utilizes this cliff here. But he's laying down a lot of his mines before he even gets there, so no, I don't think it's the best of ideas to move in. Certainly he should be getting forward with the vultures and trying to lay down a lot of mines, but he's going to actually go and attack with just 2 tanks and a handful of vultures. He's not laying mines down until very late in there. There's an observer anyway, so the mines only have limited effectiveness, and the dragoons are being pushed back, but all the vultures are dead. Now there's nothing to protect the tanks, so the tanks need to leave immediately. There are some mines to cover the retreat, so they could get out if they just pull away now, but no, Skyline really wants to continue this, which is amazing, and there is a repair going down on one of the tanks. One of them does go down, but there are too many goons. Skyline, I don't know. I don't know.
That tank needs to pull back. That tank needs to pull back, or he's going to have lost all his tanks in this endeavor. That tank's going way too far forward. It cannot deal with these dragoons right now. There are 4 dragoons, 1 tank, and mines, and an observer. It just does not add up for Skyline. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. Does he not have siege mode?
He doesn't have
siege
siege.
mode. It only just started. How and why that has happened, I do not know. I reckon that must have been a misclick. There is no good reason why he wouldn't have siege mode at this stage. If he had, then that attack would have gone so much better. But, he lost so much. He lost pretty much all of the advantage he gained from the earlier stage of the game right there.
That attack was kind of iffy going in for it like that. Assuming he had siege mode with mines, with vultures not being that aggressive, maybe he could have got something, but without siege mode, that attack was absolutely suicidal. There was no way anything good was going to come of it. And wow.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That has to be a mistake. He had to have thought he had siege mode going into that engagement, because I don't know why you would otherwise.
Yeah, I don't think it would have even crossed his mind to go in there without siege mode. As well it wouldn't do, because we saw exactly what happened. He was desperately trying to micro in and out. It looked like the moves of a guy who found himself in a tricky situation and wanted to try and make it work anyway. He seemed unwilling to pull back, even despite realizing that he was not in the situation he quite wanted to be. Making a 3rd command center now, so he's preparing to take a 3rd base. But the Protoss has the slight advantage in terms of expansion timing. I mean, having said that, the CC is going to be finished, but they're probably going to be coming at roughly the same time, so the Protoss can perfectly easily take a 4th as long as he's able to deal with these vultures, and can kind of lever himself back into a pretty normal state of affairs. Getting his... is he getting his Templar and Arbiter's attack? I'm looking around for it, but I can't see it anywhere, so no, he's just going straight for Speed Zell attack for now, and I believe that upgrade is now done. Do I see fast Dallas? I do see fast Dallas. Okay, so we do have the speed lot upgrade in, so he's maybe going to be even ready to take down the Terran army as he pushes out to his 3rd base. So this is turned around very, very quickly. If he's smart against his mines and doesn't lose all his darts on the way across the map, he can actually prevent the Terran from taking a 3rd base at all, which will put him in a great position. And if he realizes exactly what's going on, then I think Skyline's going to have a tough time dealing with this.
I'm a little... Sorry. I'm a little bit surprised by how quickly Skyline got Goliaths. It's a pretty minor thing, but he already has Goliaths out at this point. There's no way that Executor should have Arbiters. So, I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to deal with shuttles, possibly?
I think those Goliaths looked like they were for observer clearing, because they were way out on the map right there, and he was using them in conjunction with Scan. I think that they were just to clear out observers. Maybe because he doesn't want... because he doesn't want to know exactly quite what a horrible position he's in. That could even be it, because there's a good number of speed zealots out there, there's plenty of dragoons, and a good gateway count too, so he is a serious threat of having his 3rd rushed. If Executor twigs what's going on, I mean, there's an observer flying over, which should get him clued in, and he should know that he has a serious opportunity to do some damage here. Whether he'll take it or not, I don't know, and praying to lay down a 4th as well. Blocked by mine, only temporarily, I'm sure.
Well, we certainly should be seeing Templar tech. There we go. Templar Archives is on the way. And probably should be seeing the Stargate started now, too. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't see the Stargate. Maybe he is just going for some High Templar now. Well,
yeah.
If he was going for Arbiters, it'd mean he kind of want to be aggressive. So clearly, clearly arbiters are out of the question.
Yeah, he doesn't even have any gas in the bank. I think. Well, having said that, I think arbiters at this stage are more viable than High Templar because of the serious lack of gas he has, and arbiters is cheap to get. I don't know. I don't even know how it adds up, but it looks like he's going to go for arbiters tech. We have the Stargate on the way up now. We have the Templar archives already done. And he hasn't been able to use his the full clout of his army as of yet. I mean, the Terran's still taking a pretty passive position in terms of defending that third. I guess he knows that if the Protoss were able to circumvent his defenses and go into the third base bit, he would still be able to trap the remaining Protoss forces and take them out before the command center would go down. But even so, a little bit of a weird defensive situation right there. And I think Executor possibly has exactly this in his mind. So we might see a little bit of an assault going down there. Meanwhile, that fourth base is being very, very, very slow to come up for Executor. Instead of taking a couple of units up there to clear out that mine, he's waiting for pylons, waiting for cannons. He even has a couple of Dragoons up there with which he could be taking out that mine. So that's a serious, serious delay to his economic growth. And that, once again, is something which will help leave a Skyline back into the game. Converse to what's happened so far, and 2 observers going down there is going to be pretty damaging to the gas count of Executive, because as we can see, he's starting his arbiter tech right now, so he's going to need all the scraps of gas he can get, and having to make it 2 fresh observers is a hit he wouldn't really want at this point.
I'm a little bit surprised that Skyline is building the Goliaths, clearly trying to hunt observers with them. As you can see, as you said, they're so far forward, and he's throwing out the scan. Yet he's not looking at the 2 most obvious places for observers to be, at the choke of the natural and above the factories. Oh, it does appear that he did get the one that was at the choke of the natural, but not the one over the factories, which is a little bit odd.
It is a little bit peculiar. But no, I guess he just doesn't know that one's hovering over the factories. You might assume, but I don't think he's fully aware. Looks like we finally have a little bit of Terran action going on, which is the first Terran aggression we've seen since that disastrous aggression earlier in the game. The forces of Executor moving around. He does have an observer, so he knows that the Terran is on the way, but it looks like he's going to try and go for a little bit of a counter-attack into the third base. I wouldn't imagine he's going to go for the natural. Going to lose another observer on his way in, possibly. No, the missile turret just going down in time, because those observers really are precious, more precious than they might seem. Will he be quite badly sandwiched by the Terran force right here? It looks like he may be. A lot of vultures coming in, being able to lay down a good number of mines, and not too many zealots going down immediately, but there's still plenty of tanks in there. And if I were Executor, I'd be running those Dragoons away post-haste right now. They are not going to last 2 seconds against that tank. And he just needs to try and do what little damage he can in that third base. But these SCVs are going to be able to run away, and that CC is definitely not going to be going anywhere. SCV is weirdly enough not running away, but he's not losing too many, and that's a lot of zealots which are about to go down for Executor. He's got pretty much no zealots left now at all. A few more waiting in his natural, but his army isn't that big. 170 supply for him. Having said that, Terran only on 143, so he shouldn't be in too much danger as long as he can re-macro a decent number of speed zealots quite quickly. But I think the lateness of his fourth base is really, really detracted from his army count at this stage. He would want to be pumping out of quite a few more gateways right now. He just doesn't have the economic means, and he doesn't have the gas either. He's got 1 arbiter on the way, and that is some seriously late tech as well.
Yeah, you were saying earlier that that the third base from Skyline was a little bit vulnerable, and it certainly was at the time, but now Skyline's been able to slowly get up to 4 bases, and it's looking pretty good for him. As he's at 175 supply, a very comfortable position, and starting to get tanks out on the map. It looks like, once again, Executor's going to try to go all the way around and sneak into the third base.
Oh,
but the Dragoons just get sandwiched, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to pick up anything at all. Maybe a couple SCVs. That's it.
Yeah, at most. I mean, I don't know if they've even got any. Maybe 1 or 2, really absolute maximum. And now the Terran is sitting on 171 supply, while our Protoss player has dropped below him. The observers are being taken out left, right, and center. That does explain the Goliaths, and they're actually doing a pretty valuable job there, because our Protoss player is just being incredibly low on gas. That left-hand side base, once again, the Protoss is going to be baited in, and the Terran is going to be able to come around and flank him and deal with most of his Dragoons very, very, very easily. The command center might go down, but he's, again, going to be able to save almost all of the SCVs, going to be able to take out the entire Protoss army. And I think Executor is falling apart at the seams right now. He seems so utterly out of ideas with how to deal with this Terran player. It's really quite mind-boggling. And this is what happens if in late game you find yourself without recall and without status. You just end up kind of throwing away units in hopeless endeavors to try and take care of Terran bases, which just simply doesn't work. And we can see now 136 supply for Executor. He's mining off only 4 bases even now, whilst Skyline looks entirely ready to mount a push and kill him on 148 supply now.
Yeah, I don't know what Executor wanted to do there without Arbiter support. It's a necessity once Terran gets up to that high. There's just no real good way of dealing with a Terran army without it. And especially when Terra's able to get such good angles.
Incredible.
Even with Arbiters, it would have been very difficult. Without Arbiters, no hope at all. And now Skyline pushing forward, getting very close to Executor's natural. There's not a whole lot to deal with the Zealots, but there's so many tanks, it doesn't matter if he loses the first few. He's just going to unsiege and continue forward. Executor is in grave danger of losing its natural at this point. As the Terran's moving in, he does not have gateways anywhere else, and this is looking like the end for Executor here.
I mean, I'm hardly surprised. Even though he found himself in a decent position, he has looked very, very out of ideas here. I mean, the late Arbiters have definitely accounted for a good portion of that. Arbiters aren't just important at this stage of the game. You need to be making late game tech work for you. Otherwise, the Terran will tear you to pieces. He's had no way of getting rid of Terran expansions, no way of getting around the defensive, and no way of taking on the Terran army head on. It's just been a lose-lose situation for him without crucial late game tech. It's been really, really difficult. And we can see just how much he's fallen apart here without any options available to him. And Skyline's just been able to walk all over. Oh, so many goons going down in the middle of the map too to spider mines. This is seriously ugly.
Yep, there goes the natural nexus. There wasn't a whole lot of minerals left there to be mined anyway, but still, it's gone, and Terran has a very brutal contain on the choke. The one Arbiter that Executor's made has just been sitting there the entire game. Or, no it hasn't, it's a new Arbiter, excuse me. I don't know where the first Arbiter went, though. It's somewhere. There it is.
I'm looking for it.
Going
Okay,
for
wow,
recall,
he might.
potentially?
Yeah. Does he have recall? I think he must have researched recall. Well, what's he going to recall?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, too.
Oh, he's got a force in his main. Okay, he's going to be able to recall quite a good force. But this is the last of his units, really. I'm surprised. Okay, Skyline is losing a few units of this, so he's going to be able to take out the last remaining mining base for Executor whilst he heads back to deal with this recall, which should be able to do quite simply. He's got a decent number of vultures and tanks waiting in his natural right there, and a big push coming back to defend as well, so I wouldn't be too worried about that if I were him. Whilst the last mining base of Executor goes down, he does have that one at the top of the map, but it hasn't been working for a long time, and GG from our Protoss player. After finding himself in a good position, 1 or 2 points in the game, he was just completely schooled by the eventually superior Skyline.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Skyline will be moving on versus Sir Player number 2. I'm curious who they have. Because I know their roster has a number of good people. I just don't know exactly who of those people are active. I guess we're about to find out. Oh,
yeah.
Damn it. I dumped the gun. Alright, News rehosted.
Oh my. There it is.
Too damn excited to start the game. Start without you again.
Classic. Classic Hackle Beast.
It really is. Like,
absolutely.
Far more than it should be.
It wouldn't be the same without it. Don't change. Don't change Hackle Beast. It's okay. Oh, also, this was required of me. My older brother brought me a cup of tea in between games, and thus I have to do a shout out to him. So shout out to Poetic AOV for bringing me a cup of tea whilst I am casting. That is a good thing to do.
You are elegant and your brother is poetic.
Yeah, exactly. Good, isn't it?
Alright. Only in Britain. Moving on to game number 3.
Let's do it. You do the intros again?
I'll do the intros again. In the bottom left, we have Skyline now as Orange Terran, representing Team SAS. And in the bottom right, we have SIR Artanis. Alright.
Cool.
Artanis. Okay. So, Artanis, you may have recently seen a little bit of controversy about him switching teams, potentially, in the Gambit Cup thread. But really, the only thing that Artanis has done is he's been in some Defiler tours. And admittedly, he hasn't placed very high in them, but I'm pretty sure the Defiler tours are the only place where people have seen him play extensively.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Alright. Definitely not one of Sir's strongest members. I think that Skylime had the advantage here, but I mean, he's very unknown. We'll have to see how good he is.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be curious. We're about to find out, and as we've seen, Skyline last time, pretty competent against Process, apart from his minor slip-up with the lack of siege tech, which still I can only imagine must have been a misclick. There's really no other explanation for it, because otherwise he simply wouldn't have been out there at that time. We have a 12 next. Cool.
Alright.
Interesting stuff. I mean, it really does make good sense, because of course this being a reverse ramp map, you want to get out to the top of your ramp pretty much as quickly as possible, and you don't want to run too strong a risk of getting blocked in your base too early. Having said that, 12 next can leave you a little bit open to that, but I guess he's going all in. He's saying either I'm going to hold the top of my ramp or I'm going to die. That's the way it's going to be. So he's going to throw down the 12 next, he's going to try and hold up at the top of this ramp, and I think that's a decent enough decision.
Yep, and this could be a little bit dangerous for Artanis, as we see Skylime is not going for a fast expo himself. Going for gas first, and most likely the factory. Almost certainly the factory after that.
Yeah.
Oh, but unfortunately Skylime is scouting in the wrong direction, which means he will scout out Artanis last. If he had scouted in the correct direction, he would have been able to start a bunker and really forced Artanis into an uncomfortable position, forcing him to pull probes, and then the Marines would have got there. But just based on the fact that he's going to go up instead of right, means that none of that's really going to happen, and this is most likely going to be completely safe from Artanis.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will. I mean, I always hear Terrans telling me their tales of woe about how they scout the Protoss last when he's going for 12 next. Interestingly, a good choice from Skyline to send the Marine to the bottom right hand corner, but nonetheless I think this is going to go quite well for him, because he's able to get exactly what he would want in place before the Terran is aware of what's going on. He's even going to wait for the Nexus to warp in to get that extra energy, not going to waste money on an extra pylon, which I think is very, very sensible. And the Marine actually isn't going to go all the way to the bottom right hand corner either, so it's going to be a little while before he scouted the SCV. Interesting enough, going down to the cross position.
Yeah, he saw the probe coming from top right, and just knew that meant that, based on the timing, that Artanis had already scouted one direction wrong. So he knew where his opponent was, did not need to send the Marine, wanted to send it back in case his opponent had already sent an early Zealot, and that's a pretty smart move. Of course, his opponent didn't send an early Zealot because he went 12 next, but better safe than sorry in this case. It looks like Artanis' probe will be picked off, though. And Skyline moving out with first 4 Marines? Is he really going to try to pressure this? I think it's a little too late.
I don't know. This could be decent. I mean, one Zealot.
Oh, he is definitely
good.
pressuring it. He is pulling 5
we've got
SCVs.
a shield battery. We do have a shield battery coming in. This is a very, very, very good decision from Artanis. I think if without the shield battery, he would have a lot of trouble dealing with all these SCVs and Marines as well. The Marine's going to come in now, though, and might be able to, yes, he'll be able to snipe out one probe first with absolutely no complaint from Artanis. And he's going to have to do some seriously good probe micro, but there is a Vulture already in there, so this is going to make life so very, very difficult. The Dragoon needs to get out there right away and start taking out that Vulture. Will the Zealot survive? It does use the shield battery, but isn't able to get back out there. However, we might see all these Marines go down before the bunker finishes. It's going to be tight. He needs to keep the probes out there, otherwise he won't be able to take out these Marines. It looks like he's going to give it up for dead, and is just going to pull back. However, the bunker isn't actually in range of the the Nexus. That's quite interesting. So he's going to have to build another one further forward, but that shouldn't be too tricky. He can just leapfrog his way in, and he is going to do that. But missing a trick there, not taking out the Vulture and not taking out the rest of the Marines with the probes, while he still had the opportunity and throwing away one Dragoon, losing a little bit of extra health off another, taking out that SCV in a little bit of a smart move, and maybe a second one here as well. But honestly, I think this is looking nasty for Artanis. Having said that, though, the Terran's expansion is pretty delayed. I mean, it's seriously delayed, so it's by no means over yet. He still has a fairly decent shot at this.
I don't know why Artanis couldn't find a good position for his goons to stand. If he had brought the goons around here, which he certainly had time to, he would have been able to pick off a couple of SCVs. Possibly even 3 instead of just the one he got, really delaying that bunker. But instead, actually, forget attacking the SCVs, he could have just attacked the bunker outright and maybe even taken it out. But now he's in the position where the Marines have gotten forward into a bunker. He is on a timer as that Nexus is slowly whittling down. There are vultures with mines, and the mines, are they going to get down? No! Not quite going to get down.
I think he's going to be able to save the Nexus, and that's a seriously big deal at this point. Will he be able to take the bunker down? Yes, he does take the bunker down. The SCVs are not enough to repair. Going to take a mine hit to one of his Dragoons, but the tank might go down as well. Might be able to bait the Protoss player into that one mine. Will he be able to get it? Oh! Just losing one Dragoon. So unfortunately, the tank goes down. Wow, that was such a sudden turnaround. Artanis now is going to be in a good position. How many probes did he lose? He did lose quite a few probes, but he can reproduce them quite quickly as well, obviously because he's on 2 Nexus. So whilst that was looking like he was on the very cusp of disaster, he's managed to pull it back and is now not looking too shabby at all.
It's so different, yet exactly the same to how the last game started out. And we have Artarian player losing his tanks because he got too aggressive. We have the Protoss player barely being able to hold on to the Nexus. It's at 388 health.
Yeah.
And wow, yeah, Skyline was almost able to make that work, but just wasn't quite able to take care of the Nexus. A good move by Artanis in the end there. But as you said, the difference is that he did lose probes this game, and Executor did not lose probes. So Artanis is probably going to be more behind last time that he was, and we have an early star point. Now this was something I thought we were going to see last game, because last game there was a tankable cliff that he could have dropped 2 siege tanks onto and been able to take out that Nexus in 5 shots or so. Now this map doesn't.
I don't know what
but
the idea is
still,
here, really.
I'm guessing vulture drops.
Yeah, but it's not really the map for it, is it?
Not really. No, it's not the best map for vulture drops. Oh yeah, it's not the best map for vulture drops, but vulture drops can work on any map if you do it well enough. I'm just surprised that this game is a time to use it and last game was not.
Yeah, very weird indeed. This should be fairly easy to defend. I mean, there's a good number of Dragoons. Well, I say a good number of Dragoons. There are only 5 Dragoons out because he seems to have, for some reason, switched over to Zealot production.
There's another 2 in
I think he's going to need. Okay, I think he's going to need more Dragoons than this, so if he's going to mount any kind of timing attack, which looks like is what he's gearing up for, he might just have enough. And this could actually work out somewhat interestingly. We have Skyline looking like he might be a little weak at home if the dropship's idea does in fact come to fruition, which it's going to. He's got the dropship on the way, he's going to have 4 vultures heading over into Potter's base. And if this times well for Artanis, he could end up defending the dropships quite handily because he's got a decent number of Dragoons, and then heading straight over to the Terra Natural and pretty much busting through with a high number of speed arts, which could very well happen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate positions for Skyline because of the way the dropship's going to come in. It has to go over the natural unless he's going to go all the way around, which is a very risky move. And when it goes over the natural, it means that not only can Artanis possibly get some shots off with the True Dragoons there, he just knows that the dropship is coming. And I guess Skyline, he could have flown over. I'm surprised he didn't just take the shots and move over, because now the dropship revealed, and it's not going to be any easier to get in. Maybe,
no.
I guess he's just going to try getting a little bit lower.
Is he really going to try this? I think the Dragoons can still both range onto that dropship, but we're about to find out. What's he even trying to do? I don't quite know if this is indecision or if it's just questionable decision making. I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening here, but either way, I think he's leaving himself a little bit undefended, and I think Artanis could cut onto this at any moment. At any moment, Artanis could think, you know what, I'm going to try and take advantage of this. He only needs to leave 2 Dragoons behind in his main. He's leaving 4, a little bit excessive. He could leave 2 and go and attack the Terran's front door, which is chronically undefended. He has an obs out there, so he sees 3 mines, and he could easily just bash through them with Dragoons and fly in with more Zealots than Skyline can handle. He's absolutely on the edge of a victory here, and I'm not even sure he knows it.
Yeah, Skyline with some really questionable vulture decisions, but if he had gone in originally, it might have been fine, but since he didn't go in originally, Artanis knows that it's coming. He'll have the Dragoons in the base, and there's very little that can be done. It looks like Artanis wants to wait for his first Arbiter to come out before he makes a push. So we got some old school 2-base Arbiter play. Alright, which upgrade is he researching? None of them yet. Oh, there we go. Stasis on the way.
Wow.
Whoa, and Skyline built a second dropship? Really?
Yeah, really. Why?
I
I guess he just really wants to make that tech count for him, and I think it's also kind of he's delaying a little bit. This kind of delaying tactics. He's just trying to buy himself time to get that third base established. I think maybe he was quite aware of what danger he was in as well before, and as such was buying time with the first dropship too. And I think that could be playing a factor here. I mean, it's an expensive way to do it, especially if the dropships go down. But at this stage, it might be the best option for him.
just an odd decision.
No, it's definitely an odd decision, no doubt about that.
The Arbiter is getting pretty close to being done, about 70%. We have to assume that Artanis is going to move out as soon as that Arbiter is finished. +1 has started on his Forge. It looks like he's second Forge is on the way too, and he does have a third base up. I'm a little bit surprised at the timing of the third base, though. I would have thought he would delay it a little bit more, just to make the push stronger, and then use the push to cover the expansion of the third. But as long as Skyline is being as passive as he is, that third will be absolutely safe.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm not happy with how few mines Skyline has been laying. I mean, he's laying mines now, but
Yeah.
Artanis has not gone down this ramp all game.
No,
there should be mines everywhere. And Vulture's almost getting into the main, rather close, but Dragoons at the very last moment able to block the ramp, and they managed to get one probe.
Yeah, one probe, not really very good return. I mean, Vultures aren't expensive, but you don't want to be losing them for nothing, as that undoubtedly was. A little bit surprised that Artanis isn't moving to another base at this point. I mean, I can kind of understand why he's sticking on only 3 and trying to get his army a little bit more well established, but Skyline's kind of got an opportunity to get back into this right here. Skyline still doesn't have a big army. 110 supply for him versus 120 for Artanis. Okay, so Artanis only slightly ahead, but I think his opportunity for getting a nice easy fourth is going to close quite soon as Skyline's map presence goes up, as he has the Vultures to spare to get some running around action going on, especially as those 2 dropships make anything happen. If they ever do, they've been sitting there for quite some time. But he's going to need the extra gas as well if he's going to make those arbiters really count. I mean, 1 Stargate arbiter production is good, but 2 is infinitely better.
Yeah, little bit surprised. Oh, that's bad. Don't know 6 SCPs just sitting there. A little bit surprised I don't see a Skyline with a second armory. We've established that neither player is going to be aggressive at this point, so there should be a race for upgrades on both players' fronts. So we did see that from Artanis. He started his +1 very late, but he does have double forges working now, so he will be able to get some upgrades in a decent time at least. But Skyline he's getting +2 attack, but he doesn't have an armory working on his armor upgrades.
Yeah. It's interesting though, the supply counts are going up at pretty much exactly the same rate. I mean, at this rate, both players will end up maxing out at roughly the same time, and then we'll get a big clash, and I think one of them will triumph pretty convincingly in that, because the Protoss really needs the excess bases. He needs that backup so he can start remacroing, because inevitably, as a Protoss player, you're going to lose a lot in a fair fight against a Terran player, even if it's one which you do eventually win. So he's going to need to remacro quite quickly, which he may not have the resources to do. He does have a 4th base on the way, which Skyline has actually failed to scout. His Vultures went to the top right-hand corner instead of checking that expansion position, so a little bit sneaky there from Artanis. But yeah, both players being incredibly passive. Stratos in the chat saying, is this still Executor? And I can see exactly why you would think that. I mean, this is classic Executor style, as I'm coming to understand.
Yeah, something like that. He does have 2 arbiters. Stasis is done. I don't know about recall, but Skyline, not to be recalled 2 games in a row, has gotten a decent number of turrets up, although it's just turrets, no mines, which is a little bit concerning. turrets aren't the best anti-arbiter play. Just because the arbiters have so much health, they usually can get the recall off before dying. But
yeah, arbiters are super tough. Otherwise, they'd be pretty redundant. I think an arbiter could get through that missile turret wall, especially if he chose his angle carefully. I mean, it's heavily defended in one position only, but I don't think he's going to have time for a recall, as it looks like Skyline is ready to push, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And so Artanis really needs to be ready in the middle of the map. He has one arbiter. Does he have a second arbiter? He does have a second arbiter. It doesn't have enough energy yet for recall, so if that older of the two arbiters gets EMP, I think he's going to be in serious trouble. He's got a nice engagement position here. If he engages down the ramp, this could be pretty nice for him. We do have the EMP go off, but it's hit the wrong arbiter, so he does still have stasis available to him. Gets a nice stasis off of plenty of tanks, and now Artanis actually has definitely got the advantage. Oh no! So many zealots through Spider-Mines, running literally every single one of his zealots directly through Spider-Mines, and losing them all as a result. All the Dragoons go down as well. What a shame for Artanis right there. Just a little bit more patient control, and that battle would definitely have gone. And he could even have pulled back at that stage. He'd killed a lot and hadn't lost very much, so he could have pulled back and easily taken the advantage there. But instead, he ends up 30 supply behind. Rough times.
Man, mines are good. Like, ridiculously good. He lost two control groups of zealots to absolutely nothing but mines, and once all those zealots were lost, there's nothing he has that can push up the ramp. The Dragoons are just simply not going to cut it. So Skyline...
Yeah, he had time to be patient, because the Terran army was pulling back. The Terran army was not going to stay out there and fight. He had time to pull back his zealots and just bash through those mines with the Dragoons, and then, if he wanted to, he could have attacked, but I don't think it was necessary. He already gained an advantage. He already gained the upper hand in taking that first engagement so convincingly. I mean, he's going to have another crack now, but I think Terran can deal with what he's putting up. Another mine hit going down there. We actually have High Templar.
There's no observers with this army.
What? You're right.
Wow.
He does have the tech, but
yeah.
Where are his observers? Does he have any observers on the map? He has one up at the top left, which is quite handily spotting out a command center right now, which he should be able to go out and take out. But one observer, really? I hadn't even spotted that.
Huh.
That's no doubt a pretty decisive factor in that battle right there. So he's going to head up to the top left-hand corner, observerless. And of course, a couple of mines get laid down, and he's deterred. He can't do anything.
Huh. There's an observer out now. That's coming to join the army. I think that observer even had observer speed, which is kind of funny considering how few observers he has.
He's cut observers so he can get the observer upgrade.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to have that few observers, you need to make them as effective as possible.
He's got like the sight range, he's got all the bells and whistles, he's got extra comfy chairs for the observer pilots. It's good life being one of these observers right now. We do have a pretty decent attack coming in up at the top. Weird stasis. Why would he not stasis on the ramp? Why would he? Okay, he does stasis on the ramp too. I don't know quite why he bothered stasising right in the middle there, because that's going to be nothing but an inconvenience to him. He probably still won't be able to get the CC though, because he's going to get shelled really seriously badly from the low ground right here. And if he tries to take on this Terran army on the low ground, he's going to have another thing coming. It's going to be really a pretty nasty surprise for him. He loses one of his arbiters, and there's still a few High Templar moseying on into the base. Will the science vessel see them? I think there could be a really good EMP in this right now for our Terran player. He will not get the EMP on those High Templar right now. Those High Templar are still looking very exposed. A couple of zealots running into mine zone, getting taken out quite quickly. Now is the chance for an EMP. One decent EMP, and we could have some nice storms going down on these tanks. So the tanks are unsieged, so this means that the Dragoons are going to be super effective. If he does have an observer right in, so he should be able. Oh, big mines going down. And this could be the engagement that really turns the tide for Artanis. If he plays this correctly, now he needs to pull back. He cannot continue this. He has gained an advantage in this, and good, he does manage to pull back this time. So actually sensibly retreating, having actually sort of engineered his way back into it a little bit with a good attack. He has a fifth base coming up as well, so if he can hold on a little bit longer and just make sure that that his opponent Skyline can't be aggressive, and he can rebuild a decent army, get his fifth base up and running, and can find himself in a good position here. Still very much on the edge for these two players.
Man, Skyline was going for one of his flanks that won him the last game, but it just absolutely did not work. Sorry, I'm mesmerized. The command center is trying to hypnotize me here. There we go. Trying to land. He was going for one of the flanks. I won him the last game, but it just executed not as well, and it really cost him losing so many tanks. And I mean, we can say it really cost him, but then when you look at the supply, he's back to max.
Oh.
He was like at 180 at the end of the last fight, and now he's in a much better position. Doesn't quite have as many siege tanks here, but it's still going to be absolutely fine, as he's able to crush through the Protoss army. Oh,
well, the first half of the Protoss army, and then presumably the second half is going to run into some difficulties too. But the second half of the Protoss army actually doing a lot more damage. Might take some pretty nasty mines, and still more units coming in. How has the Protoss even done this? He had his mines coming in, his army coming in rather, in 3 different sections. He's actually managed to clean up the push of Skyline. He's still at a supply disadvantage, but he has a better positional advantage right now, and he's able to save himself from the jaws of death once again. If he'd have collected his army, he would have taken that by storm. It would have been no problem whatsoever. He might even have gone ahead in supply in the end.
We have some really nice macro from the Terran that you don't always... Well, he does have 3 tanks queued up, but 4 tanks queued up. We still have some relatively nice macro from him, in the sense that he does have all of his factories producing. He's able to really quickly get back up in supply. Again, he lost his entire army back up to 187. It's completely fine. Style. And yeah, it's very much so like Protoss. You don't normally see Terrans do quite that good of a job, but I guess it's just comes with being on 5 bases. Of which, excuse me, 4 bases. 2 of them are mining.
We see some decent storming action in the middle of the map, though. So Artanis is able to take out at least 12 or so vultures for the cost of only a couple of zealots and High Templar, really, and that has made a little bit of a supply swing. So he's now only 20 supply behind. Skyline is making another base at the top left-hand corner. If Artanis can get over there and really nip it in the bud, then it doesn't need to become too much of a problem. But as soon as Terran takes this top corner of the map here, it's going to be hard for Artanis to get really any purchase in that position, because it's just so hard to get around there. He's going to have to make seriously good use of recalls if he's going to get up there, and we haven't seen that so far in this game. I haven't seen any attempted recalls from him at all, even. And he would have to do it pretty well, I mean, to be able to take on that position.
It's kind of funny, but Skyline might run into a little bit of an awkward problem here. He has so many factories that it would be redundant to build any more. Yet at the same time, since all of the expansions that he wants are top left, it'd be really beneficial for him to build some extra factories there. And it's kind of like, do you waste more money building factories? Factories are kind of expensive up in the top left, and make the ones in the main obsolete? Or do you just ignore them and just try to constantly reinforce that area? Do you lift factories off? That'd be kind of funny to watch.
Lifting factories would be so risky, because imagine if he lost a chunk of his army and then all his factories were like bobbing over the map. It would be absolutely dreadful. The process might be able to overwhelm him right there and then. So hopefully he's not going to choose to do that. But yeah, it is a very interesting point, actually. And once again, these 2 players hitting max. Our Protoss very nearly on 194, whereas our Terran 199 is very difficult to get much closer to max than that. Looks like Artanis might be fancying another little bit of an attack. The Terran army looks a little bit spread out, so this might be a decent opportunity for him. Where is Arbiters? I don't see any Arbiters. He's going to try and take this on without any particularly high tech. He does have a little bit of storm in his army because he's some nice mines. Oh, not quite happening. Storming one single tank, but getting more of his zealots in the process. And making a good dent in the Terran attack, but not really too much to speak of. And wow, Skyline back on 193 supply straight away, whilst Artanis is languishing on 156. And now Skyline can really, really push and might be able to deal with this right here. Artanis is in full retreat. He's going to have to try and make a last stand at the top of this ramp. Otherwise, he is going to be toast. His main base is going to be done, and his third expansion is going to be done as well. EMP is going down on the Protoss units, and they're going to be super, super weak right now, trying one last desperate charge with the Zealots down that ramp, but unless he can hold this, he's going to lose all his positional advantage against the Terran player.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Skyline brought his full army to bear. He wanted to keep some of it up top left just to defend it in case, so he's not going to have enough to quite push through it. But the fact that Artanis doesn't have any observers is going to continue to hurt him. How many observers? There's some. Way back where the battle very first began. He can now bring them down. But yeah, that's a fine engagement for Skyline. He doesn't need to kill Artanis here. He's fine as long as Artanis is pushed back and he can get mining going at these top left bases.
Yeah, because the process at this rate is going to mine out his bases before Skyline does. Skyline's been more cost effective, I think, throughout this game as well. So this is eventually, the longer it goes on, the better it's going to end for Skyline. So Artanis needs to be decisive. He needs to be decisive now. Another observer gets sniped out. So once again, these Dragoons are left in the dark to run into mines as and when they please, and I'm sure it will please them very much to do so. And Artanis nearly reaching the bottom of his bank. He's down to 300 minerals only, and he's not even maxed yet. So that's exactly the state he's in right now. Whereas Skyline are going up to 192, 194, nearly maxed again himself. Still with nearly 1k, 2k in the bank. So unless Artanis can make this army work incredibly well for him, it's going to be very, very bad. Mines doing a lot of damage straight away. And that is a ridiculously goon-heavy army. Will he be able to make it work? He might just. Why does he not have observers in here? Why is he taking so many mine hits? These are questions which I can't really answer, but nonetheless, he might still do a decent job of this. He's pushing through with quite a decent number of units. Skyline's going to have to bring reinforcements. Will it be enough? I don't know. We can have a nice position coming in here from Artanis, but those are pretty much entirely Dragoons. He needs to reinforce them with some speed delts right now, otherwise the Dragoons are going to be dealt with by the huge battery of siege tanks coming in from the back. And GG from Skyline. And Artanis breaks through and breaks the back of Skyline's attempt to take this game, and that very, very much surprises me.
Alright, Artanis starting his crusade to prove that not only observers, but also arbiters are just horribly overrated units. Doesn't need them. Doesn't need them, just need speedlots and goons, and everything will be fine. Eventually Terry will die.
That was really, really, really weird.
Alright.
Yeah, I don't know. Skyline had control over that. All he needed to do was kind of keep his top left-hand bases safe, and it would have been easy. Well, explain it though we cannot. I think he was just way too impatient there, and he just wanted to try and finish Artanis off. Same problem we've had in many games before. Just players trying to finish it off too quickly instead of holding an advantage. Skyline would have come out smelling like roses if he'd have maintained that game a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But onwards and upwards to the next game. We're going to see the return of Artanis, and who will he be facing?
Not sure. SAS certainly has quite possibly the strongest lineup in Gambit Cup. It is a all-star list of players.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it could be, there's a long list of people it could be here. Alright.
Is Zeke?
Alright. In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, we have Artanis once again. But in the top right, as the purple Zerg, we have Zeke, and looks like Zaraki will be leaving the game. So it is just these two players, a PVZ on Sniper Ridge, and in Artanis's debut Gambit Cup appearance. Pretty hard test.
Oh, I feel for him right now. I mean, if there's anyone you're going to lose to, if there's anyone who you want to face in game 2, it may as well be Zeke. Nobody is going to hold it against this guy if he loses to Zeke. Zeke is just ridiculous. You saw his stats right there in the introduction video. It is a tall order for anybody at all to beat him. We've seen him perform against all kinds of players of all kinds of nationalities for a good long time now. So if honestly in game 2 I'd be perfectly happy to face Zeke. You've got one win under the belt. You've done well for your team, and nobody's going to hold it against you. I mean, yeah, fairly decent position right now for Artanis. He can just play his best and see what happens. He's going to be going for a standard forward, fast expanded kind of thing. I would thoroughly expect to be seeing some lurker action from Zeke on this map. But we will see, of course, this ridge incredibly strong for creating and maintaining lurker containers. It's not quite as strong as it used to be because with the introduction of the new version of this map, we do see a fresh ramp get thrown into the mix, which means that Protoss can maybe circumvent the Zerg defenses slightly, but nonetheless still not too easy, making lurker contains pretty tough on this map.
I would be perfectly happy to play Zeke. I will not let you forget that when Fox plays SAS. And when there are 20 Lings in your base, I'm going to be like, hey, Elegant, you still happy to play Zeke? Because you say Zeke's going to go Lurkers? I think this game has about a 50-50 chance of getting to Lurkers. There's a 50% chance Zeke wins the game right now with 6 Lings.
Yeah. Yeah, when I say I wouldn't mind playing against him, I mean after I've already won 1 game. I mean, before that, it's just me going out, getting thrashed, going out 1-0, getting sad. But, you know, after I've won 1 game, I'd be okay with that. That'd be cool. It's alright, I've won a game in Gambit. The world is my oyster.
Alright.
But obviously, Zeke's favourite in any matchup he faces. I mean, he's just so good.
Alright. Not the most orthodox wall from Artanis, but it looks nice to me. I'm liking it. There's a big gap at top, but it's a big gap that doesn't really matter, because even if you don't block the Lings, it's going to take the Lings so long to get back to the cannons, that the cannons have a lot of time to shoot at it. And there's a nice path between the cannons and this ridge that the goons can get through, so you don't have to go anywhere near the probe line. I think this is a cool wall.
What? Yeah, that is a good wall, and that's exactly reinforcing the point I was making earlier about if you're not entirely sure of some fancy ass wall to do on a particular map, just do a normal one. Just do this kind of thing. It's a decent block. The only way I could really make it better is by putting the pylon underneath the forge and just kind of making the block a little bit more secure. But that's splitting hairs at this point because it's a decent wall in, and I'm glad to see that. I'm very, very glad to see that. We have a third base heading down on the top left for our Zerg players, heading down on the natural expansion location, so probably not going to be doing something too super aggressive. Making ready for a 4th base quite shortly after he's got the opportunity, I would imagine. Lair happening now as well, so completely standard stuff into the mid game for Zeke. And we have a little bit of the 1 Zealot harassment maybe coming in for Artanis, trying to get a little bit of initiative. And why not, indeed? Why not try and throw a few curveballs at your opponent?
I mean, you can try, but it's very likely that those 6 Lings will be able to snipe it as soon as it decides to move out. So Artanis does need to be very careful if he decides to move out with 1 Zealot. Zeke did go for a very fast pool, so certainly there'd be Lings out and about on the field. We talked a little bit about Artanis' build. Zeke's build, completely normal at this point. The lair is just finishing up. He's going to build a Spire as soon as he gets up to 200 minerals. Boom, there it is. Spire going down. We'll be getting out those Scourge to combat the Sares, and Artanis is getting the Stargate. So everything's looking completely standard for both players.
Yeah, and what a statement from Artanis, being ready to take it into the mid-game against Zeke. I mean, he hasn't died yet, so that's good. He can do pretty much anything he wants. The Zeke Lings have not come to fruition. Not that he's made too much of an effort to kill Artanis so far, but yeah, he's happy to take it into mid-game, so we'll see what he's got planned. I would imagine he's got something fairly confident ready in PvZ terms if he's happy to do this.
Not losing a probe in the first 5 minutes versus Zeke. That's not something that
Skills.
a lot of people can say.
Indeed, and first Corsair now happening. He's going to have 4 Zealots out in a second. I'm wondering if this is in preparation for a speed loss attack or whether he's just going to try a little bit of pressure, because 4 Zealots at this stage of the game is quite good. We have Link speed kicking in right now, but definitely no kind of run by available. We have a complete block at the front right now with those Zealots into the mix as well. So the Link's not going to be able to do too much. I imagine this is in preparation for some kind of speed Zealot attack. We have the +1 weapons on the way. He's continuing to produce Zealots, so he's going to be just doing that until his Zealot speed upgrade kicks in, but the Zealot speed upgrade is not forthcoming quite yet. Maybe he's waiting until the weapons upgrade is halfway done so as to coincide. Not quite sure, but the first Corsair is going to head out, going to see exactly what Zeke's doing, maybe take down Overlord just for good luck. Probably not. The Spire is already well in time to deal with this.
The Templar Archives were thrown down very quickly for Artanis, so we might see some Sayer DT action coming out. There's really, I mean, unless you want to go for ridiculously fast High Templar, there's really no reason to be getting the Templar Archives that fast unless you want to get some TTs out on the field.
The +1 weapons upgrade is kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, a little bit strange. if he's not planning for any kind of speed up. Maybe just like to have it early, but it seems kind of redundantly early. Because it's not like Zeki's going to have +1 armor on the drones at this stage, so he's still going to be able to one-shot probes out.
Yeah, that is a little bit... that's a little bit questionable, as he's getting it. On the other hand, though, getting upgrades never a bad thing, especially in this matchup. He'll have a little bit of a head start on the Zerg, and Zeki's just scouting out the Lings, so the Lings do see a spinning forge. Assume everything is normal, you have a little bit of a chance of trying to sneak in. But Zeki's Mutalisks are now coming in. A High Templar is out, and he is going for very fast High Templar, which surprises
Look how
me.
undersaturated, though, Artanis is at his natural expansion. He's only lost a few probes, but he's got pretty much none mining already. I mean, he hasn't even been producing probes at all this game. It looks like he's barely made any since he first transferred out there.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Did he miss hotkey his Nexus or something, maybe? Because it looks like he barely transferred. He barely made any, if any at all, since he transferred.
Yeah, either that or he didn't transfer at all, and just been building probes there one at a time.
That's pretty peculiar. It doesn't entirely make sense to me. He's still not making probes out there. He's making probes in his main, but not in his natural. Why could that be, unless he's messed up a hotkey?
You're right. I guess he has, and he hasn't realized it yet. That's
pretty important. I mean, his economy is going to be... It's already in trouble. I mean, if you compare it to Zeki's economy, Zeki hasn't got a huge number of drones, but he's mining fairly happily for a Zerg, whereas a Protoss really wants to have pretty stuffed up mineral lines.
He's already behind.
Just doesn't.
He's already behind Zerg in supply. That doesn't happen normally until much later in the game, and after Zerg gets a lot of kills.
I'm pretty sure we can blame that entirely on his probe saturation right now.
Yeah. Another peculiar decision is that Artanis is going for simultaneous Storm that just finished with the +1 air weapons. And normally High Templars and Corsairs don't have a whole lot of synergy. So, I mean, Storm's good. Corsairs that kill stuff fast, also good. Just not necessarily good together. We'll have to see how he uses them. By getting the High Templar fast, he doesn't need to build a whole lot of cannons, which is nice. Should help the ailing economy a little bit to not have to throw down 10 of those, but...
Yeah. It's a weird build. It's a really weird build. It looked like the Corsair weapons upgrade was kind of an afterthought. It was very, very, very late starting that upgrade.
Yeah.
It was well after his +1 weapons was way on the way. He's getting +2 weapons already, which kind of makes sense. Does he have Zealot speed yet? Because I don't see the upgrade happening. I don't see his Zealots moving. He's being completely...
He hasn't got
incredibly passive. He hasn't even got Zealot speed yet. The Zerg is making ready to take a fourth. The only aggressive force he has on the map at this point is Corsairs, and there are already plenty of Scourge and Hydralists out, and those Scourge might be able to catch Corsairs in just a second. It looks like he'll be able to run those away. The Corsairs could probably deal with those Scourge and Mutants, and it seems like he thinks so too. If he micros them correctly, then he will be able to do it, but I don't know how many he lost there. Yeah. It might have been decisive. He's going to be able to take care of these Mutas. Small victory, but only small because Zeki still has the complete initiative on an 86 supply versus 88 for our Protoss players, who's still sort of okay on the supply count, but not really. And it being completely unaggressive.
Zeki...
I mean, I don't know what his plan was. I don't know what his plan was at all.
Zeki was caught a little bit off guard there, and you could tell his cloning wasn't quite fast enough. So, I think a lot of the Scourge hit, but they all hit the same Corsair.
Yeah.
A bit unfortunate that there's still 5 of them with +1 out. And now without the Scourge presence, either Zeke's going to have to burn a lot of gas to try to remake that many Scourge, or he's just going to have to be really careful about his Overlords. But there are a lot of Hydralisks moving out. Ooh, but versus a lot of High Templar. 5 High Templar should be able to hold this off with good Storm. I mean, 2 of them already have max energy.
They'll be able to hold it off, but what will he be able to do after that? I mean, he's able to... Okay, 1 Storm goes and takes down 1 or 2 Hydras. Will he throw this High Templar away? Looks like he's going to throw the High Templar away. He's just using Storm in a completely defensive capacity right now. And Zeki is going to be able to soak up pretty much all this Storm with 1 single control group of Hydralisks. And that is... It's just so bad for Artanis at this stage. I mean, Zeki can pump Hydralis all day. He can make so many Hydralisks. He is about to be 4 base versus 2 base, so the Prot's going to have one push in him, basically, one push, and that's going to be all he gets, because after that the Zerg is just going to be way too powerful. So whatever is going to happen needs to make it happen quite quickly. Might have a decent bit of Corsair harassment coming on the Overlord too, but that's probably going to be dealt with fairly easily. He might even lose all his Corsairs in the process. The Hydra's getting plenty of free shots. He is probably going to lose all his Corsairs on the way home as well. So there goes the last of his aggression avenues. So yeah, it's basically going to be all down to one push, but this is exactly what I thought would happen. Look, he's got a big Lurker Contain happening, and the Lurker Contain on the top of that ramp, I don't even know how he's going to break that. It just takes so much Storm, Reavers, Dragoons, the whole thing, and he doesn't have the units to spare. He really, really doesn't.
Artanis is certainly playing to a style that's just, well, I don't want to die. What do I need to do to not die right now? And he is very successful at not dying. I don't think Zeke can break him. He has too many High Templar, has a good speed lock count, even has some Corsairs. But there's no after plan to not dying. It's just not dying. So I'm with you. I do not know how he busts out of this. And Zeke doesn't look like he even wants to try to bust a temp, which is a smart move from him. I think he saw the Templar count, which is what prompting him to not bust. And that ridge is just going to be so strong.
Yeah, well, why would he bust? You only need to bust if you need your opponent to die. He doesn't need his opponent to die. His opponent's just thinking, all right, I can survive for 15 minutes, and that's fine. Zeke's like, okay, well, I'll take every base on the map, and then eventually I'll win when I get to huge numbers of Ultralists and Dark Swarm and whatnot. So I don't think that... Oh, big storm going down on a lot of Hydralisks and Lurkers, but the Contain is still going to be able to hold. There's still plenty of Lurkers up on the high ground, and reinforcements coming in for Zeke right now, and no real Speed Zealot presence to speak of on the maps. So a decent little start for Artanis, but no real aggression going to be coming from that. But yeah, it just looked like Artanis had no game plan from square one. He didn't really have any idea how he was going to win this. And as such, he's just kind of wandered into the mid game, and the wheels are going to fall off pretty soon.
Yeah, losing that much of a Protoss army and getting absolutely nothing for it in return is a pretty huge blow. It was also unfortunate that he lost the Forge just before +2 finished, which I don't think +2 would have had a huge difference in this battle, or excuse me, in a bust attempt, but would have at least helped. Ooh. That was a nice move by the Hydralist, stepping forward, sniping an Observer, Dragoon, and a High Templar without losing anything. Cute move by Zeke. And yeah, where is Zeke's Hive tech? Hive is done. I don't see Defiler Mound. Oh, there it is. Defiler Mound just starting at top left. Yeah, and Defilers is just the very final puzzle that makes this impenetrable Contain complete. There are even Lurkers up at the third base to prevent Artanis from sneaking around up this ramp. There's just no way out.
I have to admit, in the past I've played games like this. It's just symptomatic of being so entirely outclassed by your opponent that you don't know what to do, you don't even know where to start, and I think it's really, really showing. He's going to try and break out now. He might be able to make his way a fair way through this Contain, but his Zealot's going to take a big hit before he gets to Zeke's reinforcements. Zeke's going to be able to stick some more Lurkers up on that high ground right now, and the Observer gets sniped out. There is one more Observer in there, but these reinforcements are just going to be able to clean us up so easily. Artanis is not getting anywhere, and I think he hasn't had a ground unit past his natural all game. Unless, apart from his scouting probe, I think not one single unit has walked out of his natural and over that ramp this entire game.
Yes, I can agree.
He's just been so passive that he never stood a chance of winning. I mean, if you're playing against Zeke, you might as well try and win because you've got nothing to lose. But to lose like this is just a little bit unfortunate. Especially after a relatively hard-fought game in the previous one, even if it was a little bit of a weird conclusion. This is quite disappointing. And GG from Artanis, and Zeke takes it absolutely easily, which I believe puts SAS ahead in the clan war.
No, it's tied.
Puts them even. Okay, puts them tied. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, we're going to see Zeke come out in the next game as well, and we'll see who he's going to be facing down against in just a second.
Yeah, I don't know who Sir has that can deal with Zeke. If you were paying attention to the stats that ran by, Zeke does not have bad matchups. He just has extremely good matchups and godlike matchups.
Yeah, he's beyond ridiculous. His stats tell the full story. He's just so hard to beat him.
Certainly not a Protoss,
So
though.
bad.
You should not send a Protoss. You have a much better chance with either a Terran or a Zerg rather than a Protoss. Alright.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what SIR have to deal with Zeke. I mean, I don't think a passive player is going to do it, and I'm not quite sure what other kind of player they have in their lineup, but I think passivity is not going to be what wins the day. I think they need someone to make some serious moves.
Damn it. Alright.
Problem?
In the bottom right, we have Zeke as the Green Zerg. In the top left, we have Sir Fat Man.
What's wrong?
I don't like Fat Man's name.
You don't like saying Fat
Because I
Man?
actually have the maturity of a 14-year-old, so I can't say it without giggling.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Just say it like a million times so it loses all meaning. Just say Fat Man,
try.
Fat Man, Fat Man, Fat Man,
I
Fat
try, man. I try to say it like really quietly and under my breath, and just
Sir
the Terran.
Fat Man. Say it in a really English accent. It's more fun. Like Sir Fat Man.
I don't do accents.
No,
My
come on, you
accents-
got this.
My accents are bad.
Just copy me. Let's
No.
do this. Sir Fat Man.
It just sounds British.
Fat Man.
No,
No. You don't like it?
I'm happy that White's out of the league. Like, or he changed his name and I don't realize it. But it was those two guys. It was Fat Man and White. It's like, God damn it, you people! Why can't you change your names to something more reasonable?
Yeah. Well, I'll say it for you. So every time you want me to say his name, just go.
Doesn't help
and
at
I'll-
all.
Fat Man. I got it. Don't worry, I'm here for you.
That's a terrible idea. Because if we like cast Fat Man a lot, you're just gonna be trained so that whenever you hear a cough, you're gonna
I'd
say
go, "Fat-"
Fat Man. So like you'll be in the middle of your midterm and everybody's like sitting down taking a test and the dude next to you coughs and you just scream out Fat Man, and everybody
Sir
will
Fat Man.
Sir Fat Man.
Yeah.
Just oh, all right. So TVZ on Electric Circuit. This. I personally like this map for Terran.
Yeah. Okay.
Zerg certainly has some options. The meatless Cuirass, though, isn't the best. And
That's not terrible.
the backdoor expansion really doesn't help Zerg out as much as Terran, which leads me to believe that Terran has the advantage. Although, with so many chokes in the middle of the map, it's very easy to run your entire Marine force into a couple of lurkers. So we'll have to watch, make sure that Fat Man doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really particularly experienced with this map. I mean, I know I should really be practicing on it. It just looks very, very similar to, what was it even called?
Medusa?
Near Medusa. Yeah, Medusa. It looks quite similar to Medusa. So we could see a little bit of fun lurker-style action getting through those back temples as we saw so often there. We do have a fast expansion happening from our Terran player. Will the drone go down? Okay, the drone has managed to get its health all the way back, but not that it's going to make a huge amount of difference because it, might just escape from the Marine. It will escape from the Marine. So the drone lives to fight another day, or scout another day at least. But the Terran's fast expansion should go off relatively without a hitch. I mean, this is a big map. I wouldn't think the Zerg's going to try and do any super aggression to deal with that, and indeed he's not going to. We see him going straight on to the early lair timing. And yeah, it's going to progress to mid-game quite quickly and quite normally.
Yeah.
You were saying, Hackers.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke's gonna go 2-edge Mutalist, which is certainly a type of aggression. This map... Oh. Are you still with me? Are you still with me? It does not appear he is still with me. Man. The good thing I'm not relying on him to say Fat Man for me, because otherwise I'd be completely boned at this point.
I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back. Did that happen last week as well?
That's happened last week, except for you went away until the next game, last time.
Oh. Well, thank goodness that didn't happen.
All
Although
right.
then I get to actually watch some of Gambit's Cup, which is, super, but... And this is cooler. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why that happens, but hopefully it won't happen again. It's like a once in a blue moon kind of thing.
Alright. Conveniently, the game does pause when that happens. But,
Oh, yeah.
you're back now, and the Spire has been started. This map for 2S Mutalisk, just on its face, it doesn't look very good. Just because... Excuse me. It doesn't look very good because the mineral lines are so pressed up against walls on both the main and the natural, and there's not a good cliff to hover behind. Furthermore, to go after these barracks, there's not a cliff. You have to traverse a lot of open terrain. So once stim does happen, it's not hard for the Marines to stim forward and be able to pick off Mutalisks if you're not extremely careful. So this is not a map that I like for 2-hatch Mutalisk, personally, and I'm surprised Zeke doesn't go with the standard 3-hatch Mutalisk. But
Yeah,
it's
a little
Zeke,
bit
he can
unusual.
do whatever the hell he wants.
No,
No! That's a great time to quit out. Well, I mean, we'll give him another 15 seconds. And then, if he doesn't come back, we'll just have to drop him while he tries to fix his internet. 3, 2, 1... Alright. I mean, Zeke's doing 2-hatch Mutalisk, and he got a run by with Lings. So, this game shouldn't be too much longer. We'll pick him up for the next game, but Lings are moving in. Fatman put all of his Marines in the bunker. Against most people, great idea. Against Zeke, terrible idea, because you lost 4 SCVs before the Marines could even begin shooting. And now you still have 5 Lings in your base. How many more units are going to be able to kill? No, they're not going to go for the Marine kill. I thought they were going to pick off that Marine easily, but instead, going to try to stay alive as long as possible to get another round of SCV kills. There goes another SCV. That is 5 SCVs down. And that, taking out 5 SCVs like that, is almost, not quite, but almost enough to recover the damage done from the Mutalisks. 6. With 6 done, Zeke only needs to pick up a couple more. And then the 2-hatch Mutalisk is not an economic disadvantage. It's just kind of okay. But the Mutalisks are on the way. He did not get a whole lot of Marine kills, and there are medics out. So he does need to be very careful about not running into... Oh, man, and yet another one! Wow, 7. He does need to be very careful about not running into Marines. As long as he doesn't run into those Marines, he'll be fine, but it's very easy to lose the entire pack. How is Stim looking? Is Stim done already? That'd be a very fast Stim. Or did he just not start it? No, Stim's done. Okay, so that's a nice Stim. Man, this is such a dangerous position for Zeke, but he's playing it beautifully so far. Very few hits on the Mutalisks, already taking out the turret, taking out SCVs. And oh man, look at that movement. That movement just so brilliant. To completely dodge the Marines twice, moving in and then moving out. That's Zeke caliber play right there. And he's going to fly in, sees the Marines, should back up. Oh, alright, finally that's the first good shot the Marines have got off. But Zeke still has not lost a Mutalisk yet, taking out all of the SCVs in the main, at least all the ones mining minerals. Now, Marines coming from both sides. Getting a little bit risky there going in for the Marine kill. But he's going to get out of there. Takes minimal fire. And man, there is a SCV. A SCV mining gas. And then stuff in the main. Or, excuse me, stuff in the natural. Oh, man. Economic damage certainly done. This is the way you should be playing 2-hatch Mutalisk. There are too many players who play 2-hatch Mutalisk and try to go for the Marines. But when you're a boss like Zeke, you know the Marines don't matter. If you can take out the SCVs, that's a much better target to be looking for. And then you can transition out of 2-hatch Mutalisk at a later point. Oh, man. He's actually going back here looking for SCVs, and then it's like, oh, I killed them all already. Guess we'll attack the command center. But no, he's just going to go in for the Marines. All the Marines are going to go down. Fatman has a terrible economy. He won't be able to rebuild them. Easy GG. Zeke, with 2 kills, only needs 1 more to close out this clan war for Team SAS. Unfortunately, Elegant's still offline. That game, I was gonna say that game was short, and that's a good thing, but apparently it was a little bit too short. Alright. I guess I will be forced to soldier on alone. I hope that the static broke up, and that proves that it was not me with the static problem. Because I wouldn't be able, because it certainly sounded like it was elegant, but I wouldn't be able to hear my own static. So, hopefully we can establish that it's his fault and not mine. I'm cool not being blamed for stuff. Always a positive. But we're moving into Game 6. Sir has one last attempt to beat Zeke and then possibly Michael. Whoa. And we got Democrat. Alright. In the right position, Sasiki is the brown Zerg. And in the left position, Sir Democrat. Do they have Democrats in Russia? I don't know what the Russian political parties are. And maybe they just copied? Is that, I don't even know how I spelled Democrat. Okay, cool, I spelled it right. And maybe they just copied American parties? So one of them is the Democrats? Or maybe he's doing it, like, ironically. As, like, making fun of American political... Or not necessarily making fun, but in reference to American political parties. Maybe a Democrat in Russian politics is like somebody who just wants a democracy. So it's like the Democrats versus the communists. Or the oligarchists. I don't know. Clearly my knowledge of Russian politics is lacking. And as an American, I can just call them all communists, and everybody just kind of accepts it. And it's easier to just call them all communists instead of actually learning about them and knowing things. Ew. Knowledge? That's for icky people. So, Zeke with the 10 pool. This map is going to be really good for Ling aggression. The two bases are pretty close together. You will scout your opponent first, certainly, as there are only two spawns. And the front is not exactly wall-friendly. Not to mention, you can sneak some in the back if the first attempt does not work. You can continue to build Lings and then take out the back temples or mine them out. They aren't stacked the same way here. There are two temples, but the double temples are not stacked with 20 each. All right. So, okay. Going for double cannon first. Smart move versus Zeke. You should do this no matter what Zeke opens with. Zeke should just if Zeke goes 12 hatch, just accept Zeke has an economic advantage. Just accept that fact. It's better to just let him take the economic advantage, and you still get up 2 cannons. And Zeke did go for a 9 pull this game, so even if Zeke had not gotten that economic advantage, there still will be cannons up. Excuse me. Even though he did not get that economic advantage, and we'll be attacking with early Lings, the cannons will be in time. We'll be able to hold it off. Zeke did take a lot of damage on the Overlord, though. It took, what, 6 shots? 6 shots. I'm good at math. It was 6. And here come the first Lings. Now, there's a little bit of an issue with this. Ooh, okay. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot. I was gonna say, a little bit of the issue with this wall is that it was a little bit too easy for the Zerglings to sneak in like this. And then you don't take that much cannon fire. Normally when you have double cannons protecting, when you have double cannons like this, that are defending instead of clogging all the holes, you want the hole to be away from the ramp. So the Lings take a really long time to run by. But when he placed the gateway here, the Zerglings still have to run through the middle. So it's not quite as good as if the forge was in the middle and the gateway was here, and then the Lings had to run down and around. But it's still pretty good. And it'll be enough. It's certainly enough to hold off 6. If Zeke goes more than 6, then you need to change some things. But it will be enough to hold him off for now. Zeke going 3 hatcheries and then lair, so he's doing everything absolutely standard. Alright, and it does look like a rather standard game. Democrat glitching a probe through. We'll have to see what kind of stuff he wants to do with this. Probably just a sneaky scout. We would have to imagine. but maybe something more. Nah, it's just a sneaky scout. There are places you can cannon rush on this map. You can put cannons back here, and then really mess with your opponent. Although you do have to try a little bit earlier. But the probe is clearly being shown, so it's just a scouting probe. Zerglings will come and kill it relatively soon, as soon as these guys hatch. And ooh, looks like he's pulling back with the lynx. I don't like that. I know a probe got out, so you're establishing that the contain really isn't working terribly well, but it's still nice to have the lynx here. You want that vision. The Overlord's doing it too, but when a lone unit goes out, you can snipe it easily with the lynx. And he might be moving back, which would mean that bringing him back is just no reaction. No, I'm not entirely convinced. You had those lynx coming out anyway. I think you would have been fine just leaving him there. Anyway, what I was trying to say was, even if you're not stopping probes from getting out, you're at least forcing Democrat from burning to burn 12 minerals every time he wants to get a scout off, plus the 50 for the probe. And there's no reason not to. Oh, wow. 3 zealots blocking a gap with 3 cannons behind. Not enough to stop Zeke-lings. It's never enough, man. I don't know how. Not only do I not know how they fall for it, I don't know how I personally fall for it. Because I'm not watching that. It's like, I see Ziggy with a bunch of lings, and it's like, okay, he's just going to set up a contain. Just going to have a little bit of forward warning. And then I go and look at other stuff, thinking there's no way he could possibly bust a wall with 1 choke and 3 zealots in that choke with 3 cannons guarding it. But then he does it! Every time! Zeke! You unbelievable beast. Okay. Democrat, swallowing his pride, throwing down the cannon. Doesn't even need the cannon. But by throwing down the cannon, does force Zeke to be a little bit more aggressive, which may or may not have caused him, which may or may not have given him the ability to take out those lings. But either way, I like the move of throwing down the cannon in the main. You want it anyway in case the Mutalisks come. You're just making it a little bit faster than you normally would. You're also admitting that you have no micro skills, but that's fine. No one has micro skills compared to Zeke. And the first Zealots come out. Ooh, very unfortunate timing with the Zealots coming out. Getting sighted by the Scourge. Are there Mutalisks? I don't think that Zeke is going Mutalisks oh, he is going Mutalisks this time around. Just delaying them a little bit. And this base does not have a very good Sim City. Just an Evo Chamber that's blocking that Sunken Colony. These Zealots might be able to do some good damage before the Mutalisks come out. There will only be one here. He'll have to bring in reinforcing Mutalisks elsewhere. But the Sim City's not blocking a whole lot, and that Sunken Colony is going to be taken out very quickly. Now the first Mutalisks arrive, only now starting to get some shots off. These Zealots could definitely get some kills here, but the drones are being pulled away. They can't escape! They can't escape out! You could go and get them, but no, they're going after the hatchery. Now they see the drones coming back. He thought that the drones would be able to leave, but no, they can't. So he can go for some drone kills, but I don't see a whole lot of drone blood there. That's like all Zergling blood. Did he really get no drone kills in all that? Wow. Very nice defense from Zeke. And now there's a good number of Mutalisks out. Democrats continuing to attack. This time he has the +1, he has the speed, but only 3 Zealots means that this isn't going to be able to do a whole lot. Oh, nice pull by Zeke, bringing 4 drones. Oh, he almost loses the drone. Oh, he does lose 1 drone. 1 drone does go down, but it was still a good pull, preventing the Zealots from getting into the main, keeping them getting, he wanted them to continue to get hit by the Sunken. That is what I wanted to say. Great move. And now Democrat, with a very small force here, he does have a lot of cannons. Excessive number of cannons? Maybe. At the same time, it's not enough cannons to protect the Templar Archives, and he won't have Storm. So he's a lot of problems right now. Interesting gateway placement. It's like he's trying to hide the gateways. That has to be it. He's trying to hide those gateways from the Overlord or the Scourge coming in to scout out. He wants Zeke to assume he's going standard Corsair stuff, when instead he wanted to go for some speed lot timing attacks. And oh, the Templar Archives just goes down before the Archon could get there. Zeke's looking pretty good. Zeke's looking pretty good. It's about even supply. Zeke's slightly ahead. But he killed the Templar Archives while Storm was researching, and that's what matters. And Democrat, he's throwing down 2 more gateways. Going up to 5 gates off of 2 bases, he's just going to go for 1 huge attack and hope to end the game with it. But that's going to be a pretty tall order. And, oh man, Zeke's going to continue to find buildings that are out of cannon range. He does find these gateways back here. That is going to be a great target for him. It's going to be a while before that Archon can get back, and it's going to be pretty easy to micro down. Oh no! Oh, Zeke making a mistake, flying the Mutalisks through, taking 2 shots of Archon fire, but he needed to get to the other side, and that was just the risk he had to take to get over there to attack the Zealots, and he will be able to do a lot of damage to the Zealots as they move out. Democrat with a good, still going to have some good +1 opportunities, or just in terms of number of Zealots, because of how many gateways he has. But there's so many Mutalisks, the Mutalisks are able to pick them off. Zealots are pretty beefy, but not beefy enough in this case. Watch out for the Archon. Watch out. Oh, Zeke, you gotta stop doing that, man. It's like, you don't need to impress them with your micro skills. It's like, it's fine. Don't stop, Zeke. Zeke, don't do it. Okay, he took out the Archon anyway. That's fine. The Templar Archives is done. Storm's researching once again, so he will be able to get more Archons. But for the time, he can attack some buildings. Possibly take out the Forge. I think that's a good idea. I think he can stop +2. I think he can stop +2. Unless he leaves. No, coming back. Coming back. It's going to be close. If he leaves again, he probably won't be able to. I think he just slipped a little bit because he wanted to macro something back home. And the Archon's out. He can't. Oh, no. Zeke. You only have 1 Mutalisk. 1 Mutalisk left. Oh, Zeke's taking so many Archon hits this game. He's getting +1 armor and +1 attack? Wow. That's really weird. Like, that's almost all-in status. He does have some Hydralisks. Those Hydralisks confuse me. Because it looks like he's going all in with the Mutalisks. For no other reason than because he can. The Hydralisk transition would be the smart move here, but if you can win with Mutalisks, I guess you can try to be fancy. Ah, stop taking Archon hits! Zeke, don't take Archon hits! Ah, another Archon hit! He's taking way too many Archon hits this game. And that Archon's almost dead, too. It only has 30-something health. There we go. Archon taken out. Now it's pretty easy to come in, take out the last 2 goons. Goons are pretty dang bad against Mutalisks. So, there we go. Goon's taken out. Can feast on the Zealots a little bit. Just a little bit before that next Archon comes. But you gotta dodge that Archon. Zeke. It's possible. I have faith in you. Just do better. He will be able to stop +3, though. That's nice. There we go. So, the Forge goes down. Democrat's gonna go for another attack here, but he's getting pretty desperate with these attacks. They're just not working out for him. Zeke still has more supply, and it's more supply in very supply-heavy units. Or in terms of cost, because the Mutalisks cost a lot per supply compared to some other units. Anyway, doing a good job here. It looks like he's just gonna go for the Archon kill. Not going to bother to try to micro anymore. Just going in. Still not the best of splits though. Those Archons are doing so much damage to Zeke, but in this case it's going to be worth it, because by trading the few Mutalisks away for that Archon, he's also going to be able to kill off all of these Zealots, or at least the majority of them. That one's going to be able to get away, but I think the other 2 are going down. And he has a dodge storm! Oh, man. Unfortunate for Zeke. He saw the storm and got scared a little bit, so he immediately clicked backwards on the Mutalisks. And when you click directly behind them, they turn around to decelerate, which means he got stormed longer. If he had headed directly up, the Mutalisks would not have taken enough damage. And that's... You have to make that decision so damn quickly. It's a very easy mistake to make. But he's going to be able to come back with the Mutalisk, gets the snipes, and now he's not continuing with his Mutalisk all-in. Just going to go for the nice standard Hydralisk transition. And Democrat will have no answer for that. I'm pretty sure that this will be the end. I don't see any High Templar for Storm. It's just up to Dragoons. There's not even a good speed lot number. And the Hydralisks can't quite A-move, but can almost A-move at this point. The front gateway goes down. There's a High Templar building there too. Only a couple cannons way in the back there. No more Zealots. One last Dragoon to be picked off. +2 attack is nice on these units, but it's not going to make up that huge numbers difference as Zeke rallies in another wave of a control group of Hydralisks. The probes are being pulled, but the probes get pulled rather late here. They're trying to transfer away. They cannot transfer away. WW. Zeke with a 3 kill. No big deal. Takes the Clanmore. That's cool. Just another day in the life of Zeke. So, Elegant's still not around. We made the right decision in not waiting for him. Not air high fives, but like E high fives to all of you. Because we made the right decision in not picking him back up. I should turn